Live from the Findlay Toyota Studios, it's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, here we go on Monday. Cofield, Willie, Ramirez. James is here helping out, running the show. Big show on the way. Good guest spots in the middle of the show. They're all good guest spots, but we're going to talk to Steve Kim in a little bit on boxing and also what's going on with World Cup soccer. As that's the big story today, no doubt. Game coming up here in a matter of minutes as USA in Seattle taking on Belgium. But we know there's a lot of controversy around it. NBA Summer League starts in town this week, so we'll have a giveaway of Summer League tickets here in about 15 minutes. You can get your tickets at unlvtickets.com, and obviously the headliners in this whole thing are some of the new guys who just got drafted to the league. Willie, what's going on?
Not much. Yeah, we're always intrigued by those higher draft picks, the big name guys. But let's not forget, I believe, who should be making his debut, if I'm not mistaken, will be local Joshua Jefferson. That week or the day after the draft we were on, and we had talked about his older brother Cam, who I've been messaging with. So hopefully we'll be able to get Josh either on or get some sound from him. Maybe he can make his way over to visit you guys while you're on the concourse. I know you're supposed to be out there, if I'm not mistaken, but
we're out there on Thursday.
You're out there Thursday. All right,
next Tuesday.
But yeah, so always a good time, and it's become obviously one of the fan favorites. And they offer a lot of stuff out on the concourse and activities, and of course, great action because you never know who you're going to see in terms of the next best thing. Of course, when you look back at the history of what's taken place at the Thomas and Mack and the Cox Pavilion, some of the biggest names and who are now NBA champs and veterans have gone through this summer league, and now we have the new class.
USA and Belgium soccer goes down at 5 o'clock, so we'll keep you updated as much as we can in the 5 o'clock hour. Obviously, there's a mega storyline behind this thing because it started with the red card that Balogun got last week, and then it got overturned, and then gas was poured all over the fire this morning by someone taking claim, wanting credit. There it is, taking credit, not claim. Taking credit, and that was DJT, President Trump. So we'll have that in a couple of minutes. You said your prediction is still alive. What is it for the World Cup?
I picked England to win it.
Okay.
Yeah. When I'm on TikTok and it's funny because if you remember, we did the Premier League reveal when I had bought the jersey and the hoodie, and all the young lads on TikTok were telling me, hey, if you're going to hang out with us, you're going to have to pick and I picked Newcastle. We did a sort of a cross promotion here where I was live on TikTok. We did it here on the show. So now it's, hey, Willie, who are you picking for? And what's funny is I'm trying to explain to some of these guys, these younger guys, about value in terms of, looking at the value of certain teams. Right. They're all picking France and Argentina. I was like, okay, you're picking the favorites. I mean, that's easy. It's like every day coming in and saying, well, I'm just going to take the Dodgers and the Yankees every day. Okay, go ahead and lay your $2 and $3 on the money line. Pick, step out of your boundaries there. So I've been picking England, and I've been stuck on. The reason is the goaltender, Jordan Pickford, who made this, went down as maybe one of the top 5 saves of all time in Premier League history against Newcastle, playing for Everton. And I thought he played really good last night. I mean, Mexico made it interesting, but what a game last night. Everyone really was expecting. I was hoodwinked. I kept saying, man, I really think, it's hard to go against, when you pick a team to win the whole thing, it's hard to go against them in a game, but this would be the hedge bet that I would be making. If I had a big amount invested on England to win it, this is the game where I'm going to get my bet back. Playing Mexico plus 200, England goes up 3-0. Mexico makes it 3-2, and England holds on for the win. So great game.
There was a red card in the game, and for folks who aren't familiar with soccer rules, listen, a red card happens with 5 minutes left. It's one thing. When it happens with 28 minutes left, that's a whole different thing. And England was down a man.
Yeah, they went 10, right?
somehow survived. So then you're 10 on 11. There is no replacing the player who got ejected. So this red card thing has obviously become a big point of contention with U.S. fans, but especially fans around the world. They feel like the United States got a big favor here by FIFA. FIFA has long been known to be a little shaky and corrupt in their actions. And then, as I mentioned, President Trump this morning was talking about, I made a call. Cliff Notes version of it. There was something about Sleepy Joe. I made a call, World Cup, got the job done.
But didn't somebody confirm that he made a call?
I have no idea.
I thought someone from FIFA made a. I thought.
Oh boy, that makes it even worse because it's.
I thought I read. I could be wrong.
We could blow it off, be like, well, that's what he does. He tells stories. So now the gas is all over the fire, and people. I'm actually surprised by how many Americans are like, yeah, this isn't right. Instead of just being like, yep, we benefit. Let's roll with it. What do you think?
I throw all the controversy out, and I throw everything out that's being spewed as you put the gas on the fire and go right to the match. All pun intended, meaning the soccer match. It shouldn't have been a red card in the first place. Now, if they weren't going to review it and then they were pressed to review it, it's another question. Yes, but when you look at the replay, I don't think it was a red flag. If you're going to call a foul on that where they sort of collide and Balogun comes in from the back, and in layman's terms, it's supposed to be a red flag is where you put the other player in danger of injury, and I don't think that he did that. Soccer's long been known as a flopping sport, right? I mean, I don't think that I'm not saying that the guy didn't get hurt or he didn't feel maybe the knee come in the back of his leg, but it was a collision and he came in from behind. It didn't look like he deliberately did it. I don't think it was a red flag. If technically speaking, like for instance, when you're watching hockey or you're seeing something, it's like, well, the stick accidentally hit the guy in the face. He didn't mean it. Riley Smith, William Karlsson, those guys don't mean to put the stick in the face, but it happens and you got to call it. Okay, so if you have to call that, it's a yellow. I don't think it was a red flag. Now, if all of a sudden buttons are being pushed, no, go review it. You have to review it. This is the home team. That's a problem. If they were never going to review it, but then you have to ask the question: well, why weren't you? Why wouldn't you review it when it's a controversial? Now you've opened also Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to go back.
Every card has to be reviewed
at this point. Now you got to review the card from last night with England because they've moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at.
It was called a horrible call by President Trump. He's a good judge on this stuff. He also called into question the solidness of the official in this case. I've heard stuff about him.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, and he said he was a good athlete because he knows these things.
Okay.
I'm a good athlete, by the way.
So Balogun's back, and there's very much of the world that's very angry about it. I find it fascinating. I don't know how many times in our history in international competitions we actually benefited from something and people were mad. But I think politics has a lot to do with that. Belgium did appeal. I mean, nothing's going to happen here in the next couple hours. They're not going to overturn it and give him back the red card.
I was going to ask you real quick. Mm-hmm. Do you think if Trump's name never entered the equation, would there be as much anger from fans?
No, this took it to another level. There was a lot of anger yesterday, but no, this took it to another level.
So,
and for people outside the country, I would guess that his Q rating outside of the United States isn't super high. So, like I said, he's poured gas on the fire, and it's like, hey, they just did a special favor for the host country, for the United States, at the behest of Donald Trump. I saw one comment. The president admits he doesn't know what a red card means, calls the referee suspect, and confirms he personally asked FIFA to overturn it because it hit, quote, our best player. Corruption confessed on camera. A dysfunctional country hosting a tournament it doesn't understand and can't win without rigging.
Which is somewhat wrong because I listened to the video over and over just so I had the proper what he said. And he, according to him, he didn't ask them to overturn it. He asked them to review it. So now here's the thing. On a story from The Athletic, which is obviously a highly respected website, right? These writers this isn't a quote-unquote clickbait site. This says matter-of-factly, it's not per a report or anything, and I can't imagine that the author of this wrote this without factual knowledge that the call was made. FIFA's unprecedented decision to essentially rescind Balogun's suspension following a call from U.S. President Donald Trump and extensive work by lawyers and U.S. soccer officials has irreversibly changed the story of the American World Cup. So in there, it doesn't say like allegedly, reportedly. It says following a call. So whether or not if you're against him and say, yeah, well, he said he made the call, do we know? According to this,
it says he did.
They would say, yeah. So There you go.
Other reaction. There are a lot of people. There are people who are really pissed.
They're bad.
Guy Alonso up on Twitter said, "The sportsman-like thing to do, by the way, since you all seem to care about that so much after Paraguay and France, is for Balogun to refuse to play. Own your red card and not accept undue advantages from the U.S. president. Should Balogun sit out?
No. If it was blatant and it was, if it was like questionable, it was like very. If you watch it and replay, and what I find interesting is that you can only find the videos on there's certain social media. If you want to find, I went to YouTube to look for it, and they're all still shots of every. It's a report with still shots. I'm not sure what the licensing is there, but I went to Twitter or X, and there's tons of videos continually, and you listen to the announcers. To me, it doesn't look like red card worthy. So no, he shouldn't sit out.
I'm torn on this one because when I watch soccer, again, I'm not professing to be an expert, but I see a lot of the calls, and I'm like, I don't understand most of the calls. I think there's excessive flopping. The PK last night that Mexico got because someone's leg went high, like might have popped the opposing player in the elbow. I'm like, this is a penalty kick? I don't know, man. I think there's so much benefit from the flopping and the rolling on the ground in suckering the officials, and then they've got VAR, which then we don't know exactly how they're supposed to use it. Not supposed to be slowing things down, which, of course, on video replay, things get slowed down.
Yeah. We've seen it plenty of times in the WNBA this year.
J.J. Watt got it because J.J. Watt retweeted the news that came down yesterday that Balogun was going to play and the red card had been rescinded. And someone said, "Really?" to J.J. Watt, "Country over the rules of the game? Come on, J.J. This is cheating in the worst way. Totally political. I guess NFL rules don't matter either. You can just get the team that Roger likes the most and have them win. It ruins all the hard work these guys put in. Makes them all part of a scandal."
So let me ask you this, because you mean I don't watch soccer religiously. I think the most soccer I've ever watched is whenever the U.S. women's national team is playing. Right? I think a lot of people are like that. Admittedly, that's just how it is. Until this year, when that story said unprecedented, and where people are saying it's an outrage, are you telling me that reviewing is not part of the norm?
I think they've had, I thought I heard the number yesterday, like hundreds of red cards awarded over the years in World Cups, and this was less than 5 times that it's been rescinded. Now, I guess the argument on the review, I'm sure they put in for reviews all the time.
Then I have no problem with it.
But I don't know that it's ever been, I don't know there's ever been a story where, hey, the leader of this country called and said, "Hey, review it." That's what gets people worked up.
Well,
and it's a bad look. It's a bad look for us because it does look like a favor is being done for the host country. And I do think because we know in the end, I guess FIFA in theory is about the fairness of soccer and spreading the good word of soccer. But in the end, that's an organization that wants to and needs to make money, and they go to any length to make money. So this has been arguably one of the most successful World Cups monetarily. I mean, I think through 59 of 104 games, we'd already set the attendance record.
It's a bad.
So you can see where people are running with the optics and going, "Hey, the fix is in. USA sucks at soccer, and now they're just helping them in any way they can to get them as deep as possible, to get ratings up and have the the advertisers happy."
Well,
this happens in every sport.
Well,
number
one,
fix is always in.
Number one, it's a bad look because of one of the things he said in his comment to the reporter. And by the way, I couldn't hear the reporter's question, but did the report, because a lot of the clips of his answer was just his answer. How did they know to ask the question? He didn't just volunteer the information about soccer. Somebody asked, number one. Number two, he should have never said, he said, "Yes, I made a call. It was a back bubble." He said, matter of fact, "I'm the reason that da-da-da." He should have just shut his mouth at that point. He should have answered the question, but he's always got to take it another level and make it about him, and that's where it looks bad. Now, at this point, to say U.S. men's soccer sucks and they're getting help, They looked like one of the really good, like Mexico up until yesterday, and they run into legendary Harry Kane. Mexico hadn't allowed a goal in the entire World Cup. They were playing really, really good. The U.S. has played pretty damn good soccer. So it's a year where it's a turnaround story where, it's a Netflix doc. You know what I mean? They're playing good. It's not like they're a horrible team and they're getting by. They play good soccer. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe tonight Belgium comes out and kicks the crap out of them, and it's one of those, hey, ball don't lie type of things at the free throw line.
Giveaway time for the NBA Summer League tournaments. Check that. League is coming to town on Thursday. Those are the first games, July 9th to the 19th. You can get your tickets at UNLVtickets.com. It's a pair of tickets to the Summer League. UNLVtickets.com is where you can grab your tickets, but we'll give away a pair right now for the Summer League starting up on Thursday. Caller 7-364-1100.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
The scan of the internet now, hour and 45 minutes before the beginning of USA and Belgium, and more reaction on Balogun, one of the most dangerous weapons on Team USA. His red card rescinded. The president made a call, and it's been rescinded, so people are really, really angry. I was just watching JT the Brick, who's doing a really good job of posting videos after his Raider Nation radio show, and he was saying 1,000% they overturned it because of the Trump call, that was the difference maker. Can I tell you when something is serious as a worldwide sporting issue? When this country takes a stance. Who, by definition, will almost never take a stance on anything. You know what, Willie? I don't have a take on this one. I'm going to be Switzerland. I'm in the middle. No take. Statement from the Swiss Football Association.
Oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Here we go.
It's very well written. It says, until now, the principle has been clear, and any player sent off is automatically suspended for the next match. This rule applied equally to everyone and provided clarity and consistency. This decision raises questions and creates uncertainty, particularly regarding the authority of the referee's decisions, especially when VAR is involved. The credibility of the competition depends on clear rules that are applied consistently. The Swiss! We've broken the Swiss. Serious, my friend.
A lot of people upset.
You can tell we really, neither one of us are that worked up about it because we're not that big into soccer. You and I both watch these, and we see these red cards, and we're like, okay, I don't really get it. But that doesn't mean the rules should not be applied, and the way this went down does have a certain look to it. Is it going to, if they win tonight, is it going to ruin it for me? Is it going to ruin it for you? If USA wins and Balogun has 2 goals? I don't care. I have no scruples in this case.
Again, I didn't see a red flag worthy.
Red card, yeah.
Red card. What did I say? Flag. Red card worthy call. Yeah. So I don't see the problem.
This is not open for. I think most people who are judging this, it's not open for judgment. It's a red card, and that's it. There is no overturning.
Have you seen?
And maybe that's not part. And clearly, that's not really part of the FIFA culture to overturn things, which might be the best way to go because there's never controversy. Because we know, in the NBA, when they overturn stuff or they add penalties on afterwards, it does turn into a big debate. Now, in a lot of ways, that's great for sports. I don't think you need more angst and more, nationalism, controversy in the world of soccer, but here we are.
Did you see the statement from FIFA President Gianni Infantino?
I did not.
He has seen the public comments regarding the decision. FIFA's judicial bodies are independent. They operate autonomously, apply the FIFA disciplinary code, and decide cases based on the applicable regulations and the specific facts before them. Their independence is essential to the credibility and integrity of football and must always be respected. Yes, I regularly discuss matters related to the FIFA World Cup with the President of the United States, and on this matter, I did receive a call from President Donald Trump, just as I received calls from heads of state, government officials, football stakeholders, and business executives from around the world on many different issues. During our conversation, I explained that there was an ongoing legal process involving FIFA's independent judicial bodies and that the case would be decided in due course by the competent bodies. That is how FIFA's system works, and it is a principle that I will always uphold. I read the decisions of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee when they are issued. I read the decisions when they're issued. Sometimes I am surprised by them. Sometimes I agree with them, and sometimes I disagree. What I always do, however, is respect those decisions and the autonomy of the bodies that make them. Whether we personally like a decision or not is irrelevant. Respect for our independent institutions and the rule of law is what protects the integrity of our competitions and the credibility of FIFA at all times. Play on, Balogun! I hope he gets a hat trick and sticks it right up.
See, now you are picking a rooting side here. Now you're getting mad.
Because, I mean...
Too much pearl clutching? Too much high and mighty moralism?
Because I don't think that half the Americans that are upset would be upset if Trump's name wouldn't be in it. Get off your high horse and suck it up. Who cares? Any time they can find a reason. It's just like, you know what? It's just like in the WNBA. If we can find a reason to jump on Caitlin Clark, if we can find a reason to jump on Angel Reese. In the NFL, we always find something to jump on a reason just to argue and belittle and complain. Just shut up.
Coming up, how big is this game? Obviously, it's very important to USA Soccer, but as compared to traditional American sports, our buddy Arash Markazi sent out a question to folks in Seattle, and he got some people pretty mad.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Every break, it's more entertaining. More and more people getting angry. Willie, Cofield. We're getting ready for USA Soccer and Belgium in Seattle tonight. That'll start up in about 90 minutes. Our buddy Gabe Morency, who was a big hockey guy, broadcaster in Canada, was most recently with Sports Grid.
Did we have him on?
We did have him on to talk hockey. He's very angry. He said, I have not seen one person think this should have happened. Every coach, every player, and every team thinks this is a joke. That is the overturning of the red card with Balogun. The Norway coach is not playing us. What does he care? He's disgusted by this. Laugh out loud. Went off to the media. How big is this event in Seattle? What do you think? Arash Markazi was asking, because the ticket prices are crazy. Again, the get-in's like $1,500.
Yeah.
So if you just went by get-in, it's arguably bigger than any single U.S. sporting event, maybe aside from what we just saw in the NBA Finals. But Arash was saying in Seattle, is this World Cup game with U.S. and Belgium bigger than the Seahawks in the NFC Championship? We're talking on the ground there. A Sonics game in the NBA Finals or the Mariners in the ALCS.
Bigger than all three.
I don't agree.
I do. I mean, I said it.
Yeah, I saw someone had tweeted at him, at Arash, and said, is this a serious question? And I responded, is that a serious response?
Here's why I think it. The Seahawks in the NFC Championship is bolstering the economy and the excitement and the frenzy in Seattle. The same could be said if the Sonics were, or when Seattle returns a team, or when they were in the NBA Finals. And the same could be said for the Seattle Mariners returning to the playoffs. The U.S. men's soccer team is attracting a nationwide audience. They're deciding whether they're going to go to L.A., San Francisco, or Seattle to watch.
Well, there's different questions here, Willie. Is it, as the enormity of the event for the economy in Seattle, is it bigger than any of those events I mentioned? Maybe. But the way Arash asked it, and I didn't present it the right way, he said, where does this round of 16 game rank in terms of biggest sporting events in Seattle history? The NFL's bigger.
Yeah.
And
the way
I think the Mariners are as well. I think on the ground in Seattle, I could see every, dad, son, mom, grandma having some awareness of it. I don't know if they all know about the World Cup.
You know what? No,
but it's a big deal. I'm not crapping on soccer.
Agree. I'm not going. Let me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. There's one word in there that I would think changes the complexion of the question. In terms of biggest sporting events in Seattle history, in terms of biggest sporting events for Seattle history. In and for, I believe, changed the complexion.
Okay.
And I'm going to say in Seattle because I don't know. I'm assuming, we've seen ticket prices, like in New York for the Madison Square Garden, right, for the NBA Finals. Like, ticket prices are going to get inflated. But what about other places around, the food, the concessions, is this? Can they raise those prices? Can the NFL stadium, if the Raiders make the playoffs, those concession stands, those prices aren't getting raised. They're going to be the same that they've been. But this event itself, controlled by FIFA, where they're putting duct tape around labels in the press box and controlling everything, I think biggest sporting event in Seattle history. You could argue a World Cup game for finance and economy, whereas for Seattle history, then you go with the teams from Seattle.
Be interesting to see how big the audience is nationally. Could it eclipse 40 or 50 million when you do stream English and Spanish TV? Maybe. Monday Night Football, different kind. But it should do really well in the ratings. If you're looking for a spot to watch the game, we tell you all the time, really good sports viewing spot. And certainly before and after big events on the Strip, it's Jackson's Bar and Grill, 6020 West Flamingo, Flamingo and Jones, home of the $22 steak. It was just named by Tasting Table one of the best 7 steaks in the country, under $30. Get the garlic marinated bistro filet or the 1-pound ribeye, just $22. They got the full menu. It's not all about the steaks. Great bar setup, happy hour 24/7. Get the club tails. Also, heavy bonusing on their machines. Check it out for sports and otherwise. It's Jackson's Bar and Grill at Flamingo and Jones.
Steve Kim, the host of the 3 Knockdown Rule, joins Cofield and Company.
Okay, Atari, let's see your best pitch. You're out, Rose.
The Atari video computer system is 20 cartridges with 1,300 game variations you play on your own TV set.
Steve came on the way here. I was just watching Martin Lipton with the Sun in the UK say that the Balogun red card reversal is the most shameful decision in the history of the World Cup. It is worse than 2015 when the FBI raided the offices of FIFA in Zurich. It's happened twice. The last time it happened was 1962, and now the U.S. benefits. Steve Kim, I didn't think we cared that much about soccer, but now we care. This has gotten really interesting. How you doing, buddy?
Speak for yourself. I still don't care.
Well, this is turning into, of course, like every other sports story too often does, something that is being bandied about, going down political lines. I guess first of all, because I know you guys talked about this a little bit last week on Fearless with Jason Whitlock. What is your take on a reversal when it almost never happened, and then Donald Trump did confirm this morning that, yeah, you know what, I did make a call?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't think it's appropriate, but I can't wait for this godforsaken tournament to be over. My God. Don't training camps for the National Football League start in about 2-3 weeks?
This was our bridge. And now look what we get. Now we've got the entire world hating us again.
Can I jump off? But yeah, it's like, okay, I don't understand. If there's a precedent and you've been consistent with it, I don't care who calls.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm anti-U.S. I'm certainly not, but I just feel as though the rules have to be the rules they should be adhered to.
We've got the Olympics that we're hosting here in 2028, so it certainly opens the door for that. And we know that the rest of the way in the World Cup, I think every time there's a red card, if there are any more red cards awarded, there's going to be cries for every country to have their leader call up and try to get it reversed.
Yeah, and I do think President Trump has better, more important things to think about. And I dread the 28 Olympics, being an L.A. native. The traffic. God, just shudder thinking about it.
Okay, this was something that was on Fearless that I thought was pretty interesting. The fact that Balogun is even part of the U.S. team is not FIFA's fault. It's ours. Jason was making a strong case for Balogun not being on the team because he's not American.
Yeah, that's like his latest kick. Caitlin Clark's been injured, but as I noted to him, I guess now we got the transfer portal in soccer. I mean, a lot of these teams, their makeup looks much different than they did, let's say, in 1994 when the U.S. first hosted the World Cup. And it's interesting. I read somewhere that someone said that the only teams that really look like the countries that they used to years ago was like Korea and Japan or something like that. But the reality is, I guess the whole world's a melting pot, and I think that Whitlock's overriding message is that there is a globalization of the world, which, depending on your perspective, can be good or bad. But I think his overall point is it's not like he grew up playing AYSO soccer here at the local park in one of the youth leagues out here in the United States.
Well, isn't the other issue a lack of consistency here from President Trump and many Trump supporters when it comes to birthright citizenship? Are we against this, or are we for it, or only when it benefits us on the sporting front?
Well,
this would have been a mess. This would have been a message to send Steve if he'd come out and said, you know what, I will not call on his behalf. This is an example of what I'm talking about.
President Kim would have said, it's soccer. Who cares? Get him out of here. That's not one of their finest. I don't want him here. That's what I would have said.
Again, if you want to go watch Fearless, Whitlock made a good case, at least a passionate case, about Balogun not even belonging on the team. Okay. Something from the NBA last week that we didn't get to because you're on early in the week, and that was what a lot of people initially reacted to, saying, hey, this is shocking, and that was the Jaylen Brown trade to Philadelphia. But, the more all parties, really more the Celtics side, have spoken on this, have we come to grips with, there are some issues here with Jaylen Brown, and we understand why the Celtics moved him?
Yeah, maybe. It depends. I mean, look, we're not there every day. We're not in the locker room. We don't deal with them on a regular basis. But, look, people will deal with personalities that they may find irritating as long as you produce. And there's also a business aspect, probably. Economics probably played a role in this. But, I don't know. I know that Jaylen Brown likes to think of himself as an intellectual, likes to get into the social justice issues, and likes to really lecture people. I'm still not sure if he ever made a dent into looking at that income equality gap that he talked about 3 years ago, right? Whatever happened to that. But, yeah, I can see why people get sick of that, though. Who wants to be lectured to all the time? Seriously.
Well, and I was going to say, if you're not winning, right. I don't know what the deal was in Boston, but the outspokenness in Philly, if you're not winning, and now the expectation, again, is to make NBA Finals, win Eastern Conferences. If he's not winning, I wonder how Philly reacts.
Oh, that's going to be great. I think that's going to, like I said on Fearless, that's the most fascinating part of this. If he's going to start acting like he's going to be some sort of, activist, and he doesn't produce a championship, it's not going to play well. It really isn't. And so, I think with the Boston fans, there is a lot of guilt over the way they treated athletes in the past, and so maybe they're a little bit more measured in how they express their displeasure with athletes. I don't think that exists in Philadelphia. I don't think they care. They're going to say what they say. They're going to boo what they boo. But again, we respect production in this country. If he produces, he'll be fine.
Do you think if there was social media, say, 50 years ago, that a guy who very much pushed back against society but was very good and delivered, would Kareem have been tolerated?
That's a great question, because I don't get the sense that Kareem would have ever had a Twitter account, even now, if today was his prime. If you've ever talked to anyone that was around Kareem, I actually know a teammate of Kareem that played with them for a couple of years, and he'll tell you he didn't talk to even his teammates all that much. He was cordial enough when he had to be. If you talk to any of the reporters in that era, and you could read the books, watch the document, they'll tell you that he kind of was what he was. Doug Moe had one of the greatest lines ever about him when he was coaching the Nuggets during the retirement tour of Kareem. He said, "Why are we throwing a retirement ceremony and a parade for this guy in every city? He was a jerk his whole life." And that was kind of the reality. But I will give Kareem this. He was a very principled guy.
Yep.
He seemed to be very, very consistent in his stances, and he really did not talk. I don't get the sense he would have ever been a guy big on social media.
Well, but actions can speak louder than words, because there was the Cleveland Summit back in 1967 with Kareem and Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown and Willie Davis and Bobby Mitchell and Bill Russell. Remember, that was the one that O.J. Simpson, as an emerging star of college football, was asked about. And OJ was basically like, I don't really have any concerns for that one because I'm not black. I'm OJ.
Well, okay. I think he said that later.
He did say it later.
Back then, he was just a Trojan.
Yes.
But I see that's something right there. I actually give a lot of credit to. I think that was actually real activism. I think what we see now is a bunch of virtue signaling. I really do. I think it's just a bunch of performative wokeness that is thrown in the guise of activism that makes no impact. Those guys back in that era, Tommy Smith, John Carlos, I think they actually made some sort of an impact that is lacking today.
So was it performative the other day with Stephen A. Smith with the snow time Lakers? I really didn't understand what he was getting at because he said if the two guys, Luka and Austin Reeves, walk in and then he mentioned the big center they signed. He's like, if they walk in the gym, no one's afraid of them. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Well, look, can we be honest? If we went to a high school or a pickup game, right, at any park, and one team was a lot paler than the other, without knowing anything about anything, you would think the team that's not nearly as pale is probably going to stay on the court, right?
I guess if it's you and I, but these guys, it's like there's a little. You're right. If they didn't know anything about him as a scenario, but if it's Luka, Reeves, and 7'2", 250 Kessler, I don't think people are going to be like, who are these punks?
I'm with you on that, but this is what I've always said about Stephen A. For every controversial or nonconformist take that he has that goes against the grain to a certain degree, I think he, in his own mind, says, I have to have a makeup call here to pander to the other side. He does it all the time. Now, I do think there is a bit of hypocrisy given the sense that we kind of know which players have dominated the NBA, but at the same time, the last 15 years, I think there's been a lot of players who weren't necessarily African-American or black that have done really well. So, I think Stephen A. was trying to be humorous, but at the same time trying to pander, and it may have backfired.
Humorous, pandering, or what was Shanae Agumake doing with the Asia Wilson is more interesting than Tom Brady?
Well, that's just stupidity. My God, that is pandering. That's trying to. I mean, yeah, because like I said, in 20 years from now, we'll never say, yeah, that Tom Brady, he was good. He was the Asia Wilson of the National Football League. No one will ever say that. This is why you don't take those people seriously. You know me, I don't take the WNBA seriously. But that right there, I really don't take seriously.
I thought you had a pretty good analogy how serious someone would take you. You were talking about Japanese athletic stardom.
Right.
With Inoue versus, say, Otani.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That would be me. And look, I know boxing in Japan is pretty big. And Inoue is the type of guy, and I know I've seen proof of this. On his fight weeks, he is the biggest star. Okay. He is. The subways have there's artwork on it. There's billboards. He draws 50,000 for his fights, but he fights 2 or 3 times a year at most. Otani is really a national icon, and the Japanese have basically adopted the Dodgers as their major league franchise. And I know this from living in America. This is now a Dodger town led by Otani and a group of Japanese players. So the reach is never going to be the same. But it's just a ridiculous notion that any WNBA player is going to have the impact of maybe, not in my opinion, but the opinion of many others, the greatest quarterback in the history of the game.
By the way, we haven't talked about Inoue, and Steve Kim's with us, a boxing expert, part of the Fearless crew. We haven't talked about Inoue in a few months. What's coming up for him? And then long range, what do you think realistically is the biggest he could fight at?
Well, I believe he might stay at 22. Look, there's a lot of talk of him fighting Jesse Bam Rodriguez, but Bam has just moved up to 118, won a title about 2-3 weeks ago against Antonio Vargas. There is talk that he might fight another belt holder to unify the belts at 118. Robert Garcia has made it very clear as trainer-manager, hey, we want to grow into 18 before we even talk about going up to 122. And I get the sense, and I think Inoue's even said it in some interviews I've read, that, hey, I'm much closer to the end of the beginning. I don't get the sense he's going to hold on too long. It's a little bit different culture, okay? So if there's going to be one last big dance for him, I think it will be Bam Rodriguez at 122. I no longer think he will move up to 26. And if he does so, it'll be to pick up a belt, and I think that could be the end.
So a guy who's a good amount bigger than him, but, within range, if, you had like a Pac-Man-like career. Tell people about Abdullah Mason.
I don't know if that was a star-making performance, but it was the type of performance that he needed on national TV, on TNT, facing a very tough, awkward, well-skilled Albert Bell, who was at least 4 or 5, like 3 to 4 inches taller than him. And the way he broke him down in a fight that I think a lot of people thought he was losing, I thought was incredibly dramatic. And I like Abdullah since day one. I thought he was a blue-chip prospect. And in the last 2 fights where he beat Sam Noakes for the vacant title in Saudi Arabia, and then he draws over 9,000 in Cleveland, Ohio on 4th of July night, I think that is significant. This was a huge weekend for Mason. I think he is becoming one of the bright lights of American boxing.
Well, it's something you've been calling for forever, right? That every fighter on their way up, or even when they're on top, they don't have to fight in Vegas. They don't have to fight in these major cities. Sometimes the business of boxing, if you go back years and years and years, there were regional stars who could become national stars, but they drew at home.
Not only don't they have to, I don't think they should until it's a real big fight. Look, there used to be a time in America decades ago. We had boxing markets all over the country, Chicago, Miami, Philadelphia. It wasn't just L.A. and New York and then Vegas and Atlantic City later on. There were times where there wasn't the television, it wasn't pay-per-view. You had to draw locally, and you were paid off ticket sales, so you had to be regionally known. And if you look at what's gone on the last few years, when a good young fighter performs in front of his home folks, they usually draw well. And if they are exciting and entertaining with a nice, pleasant personality like Abdul Mason has, that can work. And so, and you look at the Vegas fights, this is one thing I know, Steve, the really big super fights do well. Everything else doesn't. There's almost like no middle class of a fight. So you're either going to the biggest fights in the world or you're going into a little ballroom at Cosmopolitan. And so there's almost like no middle ground there.
Steve, on the schedule coming up, what's going on with Bivol? And what is it, the WBO is saying, hey, let's go, get back in there?
Well, they are saying that you have to fight your mandatory. But I got to call Vadim Kornilov, their manager. They have options. I don't think they're going to fight Benavidez next because Benavidez at 200 pounds. He's at 175. But if he wants that belt, he'll have to face Callum Smith with the WBO mandatory. Now, they're pretty consistent about that. But keep this in mind. He has multiple belts, so he's in a position to drop 1 or 2 to go for more lucrative opportunities if he so chooses.
And we still have no update on the elite heavyweights. I mean, do we have anything scheduled coming up with Usyk, with Fury, with Joshua? What's going on?
Usyk is the 1998 Chicago Bulls. He's announced his last dance.
Oh my God.
And he's going to have one more fight, and he won't be taking on his WBC mandatory. And he announced last week or a week and a half ago, I got one more fight. I'm ditching all my belts, and I'm going to do what I want to do. So the WBC, I believe Aga Caballel is their new champion because he's not getting that mandatory shot. The IBF announced last week that Frank Sanchez, their number 1 contender, and Moses Itama, who's number 3, they have to fight for the vacant belt. So there's going to be a whole new division now, basically. But Usyk will be fighting anyone from Deontay Wilder. That's the name that we've heard. The rematch with Rico Verhoeven. I even heard John Jones.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just throw King Kong and Godzilla into the mix, too. Those would be good fights.
All right, Steve. Have a good week. We'll talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks. There
he is up on Twitter. Steve Kim 323. Steve Kim 323. Giveaway time. Martin Lawrence, Blast from the Past, playing Resorts World Theater coming up on the 11th. So right around the corner, AXS.com. AXS.com is where you can get your tickets for Martin Lawrence. Pair of tickets right now to see Martin. 364-1100, 364-1100, caller 7.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Yeah, I was just reading on the air reaction from Martin Lipton, UK journalist, saying it's the most, the Balogun reversal of the red card, most shameful decision in World Cup history. And then I see Americans retweeting it going, England in its feelings. I'm not here to mock on how people feel about this and how worked up they are, because I know if it were, American football or the NBA or college basketball or college football and, something to this level happened and I felt like it was the wrong decision and there might be a conspiracy at hand, I would be raging or I would be in my feelings as well. Willie's here. It's Cofield. Hour 2. We're on in Reno. It's brought to you by Battleborn Injury Lawyer, 1,400 is the number. Again, this hour is brought to you by Battleborn Injury Lawyers. Let's get to the Big Four.
Battleborn Injury Lawyers presents the Big Four at 4. Number 4.
All right, Willie. Well, my dog, Joey Chestnut, he did it again. 18th. Mustard belts, as I've said a million times, the physical feat that this man achieves every year on the hot dog eating contest and several other contests are a sight to behold. The most dominant athlete I've ever seen in my lifetime. Every year I'm like, okay, this is going to be the year where he starts to show his age. Did not happen.
I saw an Instagram post on a story that would have made you proud.
So I'm sure.
Young lady, colleague of mine, Kelly.
I might have cried.
Great young writer. She covers the Aces, but she put on her Instagram story, "This is America. This is why I celebrate the 4th of July." Something along that context, and it was about Pseudo, and then I don't remember if she posted it, but I said something about Joey Chestnut. I said, "This is what it's all about." She said, "Absolutely."
American gluttony combined with over the top tenaciousness and physical dominance. How do they keep doing it? They combined for Mickey Pseudo, of course, of UNLV. Mickey and Joey combined for 103 3/4 hot dogs eaten during the contest. Oof. That actually was under the number. The over-under was 110 and a half, but very, very brutal eating conditions. And the weather does matter. If you remember when we had that Netflix contest here at the Luxor in a controlled environment, I think they combined for, if I'm correct on this, maybe 148. And it wasn't Mickey. It was Kobayashi. Kobayashi and Chestnut at advanced ages pushed past. I think it was a total of 140. I think Kobe did 60 plus, and just into the 80s was Joey Chestnut. Amazing.
I'm sure that we've covered this. It's an annual conversation.
I was going to say we don't ever repeat things on this show.
Have you ever projected how many you would eat?
Oh, I couldn't. I don't even think I could do 10. Maybe 6.
How many?
And I would be
how many
sick as a
did
dog.
you? How many donuts did you do?
The donut eating was terrible. I think I officially did
You finished second.
4 in 2 minutes, or
no,
or 4 in 4 minutes.
No. You had more than that.
I don't think I did.
I think you did. I think you finished second.
I think I might have hoodwinked the judges. They weren't paying attention. Now, the donut eating contest, I know I pulled a Balogun.
DJT could have made a call.
I know how to eat those donuts now. I would do better now.
Well, yeah,
I really need to have a practice. No, when it came down to it, because you start eating and it got so cakey immediately, and then I had cups of water, and the water just breaks everything down, and then it's basically donut mush that you're stuffing in your face. So I think I could have done better. But there's a lot to a hot dog. Come on, that's a significant eating chore.
Did I ever tell you that because it was years. I couldn't remember the date that the last time I had ran through a drive-through that had the golden arches.
Oh, yeah?
Did I tell you that recently
Did you try to speed eat a Big Mac?
I took a crack at the Big Mac in a minute.
Well, I know you can do it.
I did it in minute 6.
Wow.
But
you're an amazing speed eater.
I just didn't I
Maybe
just
not like 10
I didn't
hamburgers.
do it in terms of I just did it normal big bites, but it was a minute 6. So now like you're saying, now if I did it again and we did that challenge, easily would get it done. I know where I went wrong.
So was there controversy with Mickey Pseudo's number?
Well, I don't know how much it was his controversy, but you know what? And I don't know if DJT called it in, but there was a review.
You think Trump called?
There was an official review.
We're reviewing everything. Mickey Pseudo.
Apparently, she was eating from 2 plates.
Oh, really?
And so they didn't realize, and they had to go back and look at the total number. So her number did jump. And once they went back and looked, they missed some hot dogs for Mickey Pseudo, and they upped her count to 38 3/4 rather than the unofficial total of 33. So there was a review of the replay. Watched through the broadcast. It appeared she ate 34 hot dogs, but quote unquote, the counter had missed the plate. Head official judge Sam Barclay caught that.
Come on, Shea, get it together.
I mean, you know,
George Shea, Richard Shea. They had numbers issues with Nick Weary a couple of years ago with Mickey's husband. He got in this whole thing where they accused him of cheating. Bull crap.
There are 5 hot dogs on each plate. I was looking to find there are 5 hot dogs. It's the right count, he wrote, referring to Pseudo's official total of 38 3/4. In the rush, it is hard to see until the judge can get it. We are very careful. That is the right number. What's the bigger review, this one or Blanca?
You know.
Yeah, hot dogs.
Can you hear the difference between the spirit?
Well, there's no outcry.
Like we
America doesn't care.
For 40 minutes, we were like, well, we got the story with the World Cup. We're just telling you what's going on. Here's other people who are really angry. By the way, I'm so into the hot dog contest. I was like, you know what? I have to get those numbers right from the Netflix show at the Luxor, and I failed the audience. It was 83-66, not 82-66. I swear, on like someone's important life, that I did not look that up before I said it. I don't know why I remember 82-66.
When you tweet this,
damn close.
When you tweet this out tonight, James, and you come up with a little catchy title. This is the show of reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Show of reviews, from the Luxor to the hot dog to the red flag. A lot of reviews taking place.
Number 3.
Don't
ask me who put this bracket together, but it got me. I saw a WNBA one-on-one bracket, which they probably should. That would be something kind of cool if there was big money at stake. But they didn't put together the field with all the best players in mind. So they basically had 16 players. The 1 seeds were Aaliyah Boston and Paige Beckers, which is weird. But they also included college players. Would a healthy Juju Watkins beat this field that does not include Breanna Stewart, Asia Wilson? I'm trying to think of some other great players. Nafisa Collier. It doesn't include any of them. Would she win? She's a 3 seed in this.
There. I'm trying to look at the theme. Is it players of?
No idea, because there's multiple college players.
No, I'm saying how far back they go. Caitlin's not on there.
Nope.
So I do want to point out that if I sent this over, this would have been introduced. Willie likes to send over
lists.
He likes
lists. I had a couple of good lists today. I like this one. Well, the
this is interesting.
The question is,
let's go through.
How good is? We're not going through the whole thing.
Damn.
How good is Juju Watkins? We can do some of it with.
She's good.
Doug Feinberg.
No,
could Juju Watkins beat? I mean, Paige Beckers is probably the best player on this list, right? Olivia Miles is a little bit small. Angel Reese is on there. I love the first round matchup of Angel Reese against Audie Crooks. Mm-hmm. I think the Audie Crooks story is going to be one of the craziest stories next year, because she is pushing 280 pounds at 6'3", and are we going to be able to talk about her like we would, I don't know, Robert Tractor Trailer. Remember him?
Yes.
Rest in peace?
Yes, Michigan.
Right? Can you be the equivalent of like 6'9" and 360 pounds in men's basketball? Because we would talk about conditioning. So I have no idea what's going to happen with Audie Crooks, but I would love to see her play Angel Reese. I don't think Reese can jump over a phone book, but I think Reese would block every shot you try to take.
I do too, but here's the thing. I can't call her a sleeper because she's a number 1 seed, but the most dangerous player in this tournament would be Aaliyah Boston. Because
I don't always favor bigs in one-on-one tournaments.
No, because you got the quickness of the backcourt, but Aaliyah Boston has worked really hard since her rookie season on her footwork. I watched her play the other night or yesterday against the Aces. Granted, there was no Asia Wilson, but Aaliyah Boston has gotten really good with her footwork and her agility. She's going up against somebody who I literally, during the last break, just published a story, sent it into the editors of Ball is Life, 6 breakout seasons. Shakira Austin is putting up career numbers in her 6th season. So that would be an interesting first round matchup. The other first round matchup that I would be intrigued to see, you mentioned Juju Watkins. I'm a big Sonia Citron stan. She has been playing phenomenal. She's a great sharpshooter. And the Washington Mystics, Citron, Austin, that's a dangerous team that's sitting in the 8th and final playoff spot. My final 4, though, for this would be Paige Beckers. God, Juju Watkins versus Olivia Miles is tough. I'm going to give it to Olivia Miles just based off the fact that she's got 1 year of pro experience over Juju, and Juju would be coming off an injury. So Paige, Olivia, Aaliyah Boston. I'm going with Kiki Iriafen. That's my final
And again, this is a
four.
bracket without some of the best players of the WNBA.
Yeah,
It was
100%.
just- Some of those matchups with the college players was kind of intriguing. Number 2.
Number 2.
Send that on to Feinberg. See what he says. He's coming up. Doug Feinberg from the AP on the WNBA. Did you see that? They're going to bring back an old announcing combination. I did not realize that Gino Auriemma actually did some announcing for the WNBA, but he did it with Robin Roberts. And tomorrow night, the Wings play the Liberty. And what has it been? Basically like 30 years, right? Because we're in the 30th year since those two were on a TV broadcast, so they're going to bring them back together. Robin Roberts has gone on to bigger things on the news side, and Gino has gone on to continue being a jackass.
And kudos to Robin Roberts.
Sorry, Gino.
With what she's overcome in her personal life, right?
Are you surprised Gino's included here after what he pulled in the Final Four?
No, I'm not, because this game features there's gonna be something very special at this game, and it's already been announced, so I'm not gonna ruin it. But you know what? Let's not table it, but we'll talk about right now. But let's come back to this for sure with Doug Feinberg, because there's going to be a major award distributed at this game. It's already been announced. The ceremony already took place, but the person involved couldn't be there for her trophy. She'll be awarded that trophy tomorrow at the game. He and I, Doug Feinberg and I were talking about it yesterday. So the fact that there's some UConn greats in this game, that being Paige Beckers, that being Brianna Stewart, it doesn't surprise me at all. There's no reason to hold him out of it. Let's move past it. He knows what he did. But again, two great voices for women's sports, and it'll be fun to watch. So,
Number 1.
Okay, we posed a question last week, and there were a lot of people on the internet saying, hey, Caitlin Clark's got to speak out on behalf of Alyssa Thomas and the abuse she's getting, and that players get when they appear to be in some turmoil with Caitlin Clark. Did you like what she said? Because she was quoted as saying, harassment, hate, none of that is okay. That goes from the opposing teams we play. That goes from my teammates. It goes from my coaches. There should never be a question of character. Like, I've always stood up here and said that, and that's truly what I believe. That's how I was raised, so none of that is okay, and I don't want anyone to experience that. Is that enough?
I like the way she finished it. The first 20 to 30 seconds, she made all about herself, and she was very matter-of-factly as if she's the authority. Yes, it was this. Yes, it was that. Da-da-da-da. Like, she just was very Trumpish about it. And
What does that mean?
She made
me?
Yeah, and just as if her word is authority over everything, and what she says goes type of thing. But for the most part, she's very good at what she does. She's very, she knows how to speak. I mean, that's when you're thrust in the spotlight, with what she did in college. So she's polished. If we have more time, we could go into the questions I posed to Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Stephanie White. We'll bring it up with Doug Feinberg.
Yep. Doug's coming up. Also, Stephanie White, I thought, had a pretty good statement about trying to separate real WNBA fans and some of the idiots online.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Well, we spent a lot of hour one talking about the decision of FIFA. By the way, I got to get the terminology right on the Balogun red card. It has been deferred. It hasn't been rescinded. I don't know what that means in the future. But the other part of it that's very exciting for us in sports talk world, because of the reaction, is that President Trump is involved, and he took credit for it this morning. He was speaking on it this morning. You know where he needs to go next? He needs to start making some calls and giving his takes on Caitlin Clark. I think that would just make the story just so much more effective. My God, your heads would explode. Doug Feinberg covers the WNBA. Doug, you want Trump involved in this stuff too with Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas? Let's go.
I mean, I don't think you get any more noise if you did that than you have right now. I mean, the president has views on everything, so that'll be interesting to get his take on what happened, so to speak.
No doubt. We were just starting to bandy about the statement or the quotes that were delivered by Caitlin Clark on fans and their behavior. And I thought Stephanie White said something pretty interesting, basically that she doesn't really believe that it's WNBA fans and Fever fans who were threatening Alyssa Thomas. Said most of that's from an online community. Can we definitely separate the two?
Yeah, I think you can. I think there's a fan base for the Indiana Fever that are basketball fans, Caitlin Clark fans, Aaliyah Boston fans of the team that have been there for a while. And then there's people who've come in the last couple of years, and Caitlin joined, and not saying that every one of those fans by any stretch is causing online trolling. But there's a group of people. I mean, listen, the online is a weird community in a lot of ways. And I think there's people that come out and say things that they can hide behind beyond a keyboard. And I think there is a separation. You can say that there are fans of the Indiana Fever that go online and say the right thing, and then there are also people that go online to do what they want to do to create discourse.
Doug, we were at the press conference, post-game press conference yesterday, and you heard my questions to Aaliyah, Kelsey, and also Steph. In terms of the 8 days that they had off since this whole incident took place, the mental health break, you're a veteran reporter of this league. People just seem to forget that we're talking about young women between the ages of anywhere to 23 and 30 that are catching this heat, this next wave of players from Caitlin's draft class on. Well, Aaliyah was a little bit before that. Kelsey's a veteran, but you know what I'm saying here. It's a big part of it that these women take on a lot mentally.
Yeah, Willie, it's a good point. I mean, you also throw on the COVID kids in a sense. Like the younger ones were in college or high school when COVID hit, which also caused some, I think, mental health questions for people, toughness from that standpoint. It's not great. I mean, the 8 days were wonderful for them. Unfortunately, they have to play Phoenix again this week, so it's going to probably bring everything back up from that standpoint. Hopefully the cooler heads will prevail, the smarter people will prevail, and we won't have anything happen at all when they play again later this week. But, yeah, having a break mentally, I'm sure was great for everyone involved.
Speaking with Doug Feinberg from the AP, tomorrow night, the Dallas Wings, Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, and company, Jessica Shepard, having a great season. They will be at Barclays in Brooklyn to play the New York Liberty. Pretty cool event recently. The AP named I'll let you tell the story, but Steve had brought it up last segment. Robin Roberts and Gino Auriemma will be calling the game. He hadn't realized that they were voices, or Gino was on the call. Can you just give us some background, talk about that, and how special that is, especially with Gino obviously coaching some UConn players there?
Yeah, I mean, ESPN's doing a really cool thing. It's a throwback game. The first game broadcast on ESPN WNBA was Robin Roberts and Gino Auriemma. So they figured, why not? 30th anniversary, bring them back, do a game in New York. You have Paige and AZ on Dallas. You have Stewie on New York. So obviously Gino knows his players pretty well. We'll see which way he decides to call it, so to speak, who his favorites are. I mean, Stewie already admitted that she can't compete with Paige and AZ, are the recent ones, but it should be a lot of fun. I mean, you alluded to it, Willie. We had a cool event over this past year over the college season. It was the 50th anniversary of the AP poll. We had a group named the top 15 players all time in college basketball. Only their stats in college basketball, what they did in the pros doesn't count. And Cheryl Miller was the greatest player of the first 25 years, and Breanna Stewart was the greatest player of the last 25 years. We did a little ceremony out in Phoenix for the Final Four. Stewie couldn't make it because she was actually, to her benefit, on vacation for a couple of days with her family and a little time she had off. So tomorrow night at Barclays, they're going to actually honor her. The trophies at Barclays. My boss, Josh Hoffner, the new sports editor of the AP, is actually going to present it to her. Should be a fun event. There'll be a lot of UConn fans there, obviously, besides Liberty fans, with Paige and AZ being in town. So should be a lot of cool things there.
You mentioned the 30th anniversary. We've had some pretty cool moments. The first ever game to that day, right? 30 days of that night with the Liberty and the Sparks. And You think about it. Madam President, Nneka Ogwumike, hits that game-winning shot. She was very pivotal in that this 30th anniversary season was able to tip off. You were one of 4 reporters who were camping out during those meetings. I think we talked to you not too long after that. But there's been a lot of cool moments. We could have a cool moment tonight with Cheryl Reeve in the 13th anniversary, right onto the day of all-time regular season wins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can write a better Hollywood script than Nneka hitting that shot to beat the Liberty in L.A. in the 30th anniversary. From that standpoint, with all she did for the league this year and the players themselves. And you're right. Tonight, Cheryl Reeve goes for the record-breaking victory for all-time wins for a coach in WNBA history. It's ironic. I found this out the other day when I was doing some research. 13 years ago, July 6, 2013, Mike Tebow passed Van Chancellor to become the all-time winningest coach, which he's held on since then until potentially tonight. So, again, I'm not a superstitious guy or a destiny guy or any of that stuff, but pretty neat if Cheryl wins tonight on the exact day that it happened 13 years ago for that record to fall.
The All-Star week or weekend is coming up on, July 24th and 25th. And I saw the story that, because people are always going to react to where Caitlin Clark finishes, how low. Was there a voting error? Was there a lack of interest? Something about half the league, players didn't vote?
Yeah, there was, I believe, about 85 players voted, roughly, which is about less than half the league. No one knows the reason why many of them didn't vote. The LA Sparks had some issues with the emails. The players didn't know about it, apparently, is what they put out in a statement. I mean, listen, it's the players wanted to vote. I think 2017 was the first year that they got to vote. I know players in the past who've told me literally they just vote for their teammates. So if I'm on the Las Vegas Aces, I'll vote for my 11 teammates to be on the All-Star team. That's probably not what it's supposed to be done. No. But I understand why they do that. I mean, it probably happens in other sports, too, that players, if they have the power to vote for their teammates, they'll do that. It just, I mean, it's 25% of the vote. And listen, any All-Star game is for the fans. It's who the fans want to see playing in these games. It's not for the media. It's really not for the players, though they do get a nice little paycheck now for making the All-Star team. But I got to think it's for the fans. And it's not great when the players, it gets out that less than half of them voted. And I don't think there's a hatred of Clark or Kelsey Plum. I think it's more just the players that did vote. Many of them voted for their own teammates, and that just lowered down Clark and Plum that way. Plum, I think, was 12th, and Clark was 11th in the player voting.
To that point, I wonder, though, if they all voted, what would have happened if they all received their ballots? Now, and let's also say Kelsey Plum's injured. So, I mean, I wrote a column in terms of like which players could have been snubbed as starters, just naming, as you know, a lot of readers love lists. They love to see the list. They love to argue about it. They love to talk about it online. So, I mean, I gave a paragraph that said Kelsey Plum and Brittany Sykes weren't injured. They could be in the conversation with the season that Slim was having. Some other names I mentioned: Marina Mabry, Kalia Copper, Nneka Agumike, Angel Reese. As far as starters, did you think, if you throw popularity out, were there any players that were snubbed for starters?
I mean, listen, I've been doing the AP All-American team for the last 20 years. And the conversation every year when it comes out is so-and-so was snubbed. And my answer is always, well, if so-and-so snubbed, who would you take off the team to replace that person with them? And the answer is usually, oh, that's a good point. I think the names you named all have deserved cases to be all-stars, starters potentially. I mean, Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray are two other ones. But you only can start so many. And to be honest, the way the league does it, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you have to name, I think you vote for 4 guards and 6 forwards. If you went position list, maybe it would change a little bit. The coaches, when they vote for the reserves, I think they can have some utility spots, so to speak, where they can put a guard or forward along with the forwards and guards they need. But, again, I think the starters you have, the fans liked most of them, so I think that's who's starting and probably deserves to start. But, yes, there are always people that are going to be out there that are like, man, this person should have been starting. Go ahead. Who are you taking off that list?
Doug Feinberg's with us, AP WNBA expert. I saw your tweet about 10 days ago saying, hey, it'd be great if all these media folks with hot takes about the WNBA actually went to a game or two and covered it. And I see what you're asking for instead of all the hot take, hot shots. I will say, though, there are players in the league who sort of make it easy for the casuals. What exactly is happening with Skylar Diggins? Is that something that maybe could have been taken care of in-house? What did she post?
That's a great question. I've been offline as around Vegas the last couple of days.
So
but,
here's what she came out with. She said something to the effect of, now I'm coming off the bench. Cool. And then she said, I've been so good and quiet. Do we know what's happening with Chicago? And Diggins is one who has been embroiled in controversy in the past.
Yeah, she certainly has. But, I mean, listen, Willie's talked to her a fair amount also. She's a great ambassador for the league, and since she's been playing since she was in the draft things, the 2013 class with her, Deladon, and Griner. I think that, I mean, to go back to the comment you were making that I said on Twitter, there are a lot of people out there who actually jump in who I think make good comments, they're educated about it, but there's also a high percentage that come in just make clicks, and that's where my issue is. Like, there's some pretty good players out there to cover. Marina Mabry dropped 53 points in a game. Not many NBA guys have done that in the history of the last couple of years here.
Well,
so
I was going to say, I think the one that got a lot of people was Acho going with the hardcore trolling, saying that the league should be done with Caitlin Clark. It's not worth the time anymore. We got like 15 seconds left.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Definitely that reached my radar.
Doug, thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, enjoy the day.
There he is, Doug Feinberg, WNBA AP writer. Yep, Diggins creating some troubles. And I do want to get an update, though, on All-Star Weekend. Something going on with the Chicago new practice facility.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
So, Willie, I feel like the WNBA players not voting in their own All-Star process, and it's only 25% of the final tally, but I feel like that's happened before. Why does it continue to happen? Is it a procedural thing, or I mean, Doug kind of blew me away there. He was like, players will just vote for all players on their team. Why would you do that? How about take it a little bit seriously? You know, if you don't like Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese or someone else, DeWanna Bonner or Alyssa Thomas, whoever the villains are, if you don't want to vote for them, I guess you can do that. I think it's stupid, but to vote for only your team, come on.
I think the only people that are going to take an unbiased opinion on the votes are the media, because if the fans can, if 50% of the vote coming from the fans can be on popularity and they're doing it just because they love this player or that player, that means that a lot of those fans are also hate voting. So, hey, if we don't like Angel Reese, we'll make sure we don't put her on the ballot. If we don't like Caitlin Clark, we'll eliminate her. So for those players, they're like fans. They're just going to vote for who, to them, their popular vote is their teammates.
So what's the issue with Kelsey Plum?
Kelsey Plum.
That seems like a statement that she was the 12th or 13th guard.
Yeah, she also finished low last year, if I'm not mistaken. But Kelsey's injured, so I'm wondering how many players are taking that into consideration. Injuries. She's out for a minute. So why would you vote? I actually would. I would have done it if I had an official vote with the league. I would not have voted for Kelsey Plum. I wouldn't have put her on the list as a starter because of the fact that she's injured.
I would.
Why waste the vote?
I would. Well, this goes for baseball too. I don't understand, and I guess I'm going to do it here in a second. I think it's a blend. When you vote for All-Stars, it's not all what happened in the first half. There are career elements to it.
I don't think that Caitlin Clark should have won the voting last year because she played 14 games and then missed the rest of the season.
Well, she's a different case. She wasn't the case I was just talking about.
I understand that, but I'm relating it to a situation where a player is if a player is injured and is not going to play,
right?
She could be named an honorary, like a reserve, and just to be
a starter, she'll get replaced. Baseball,
I guess
they streamlined it where there was a final two vote, and Nick Kurtz was on the outside looking in, and now I'm going to step on my own D here. Vlad Guerrero is not having a monster first half. He's going into the weekend, he had like 4 homers and 34 ribs. It's not even comparable to what Kurtz has done. Now, has Guerrero been around longer? Yes. So maybe you base it on his career. But I was glad to see that Kurtz and Langeliers got the nod. Clearly, Langeliers, from a combination of pretty decent defensively and his hitting, he should be the all-star starter for the AL. So that's good.
Okay, so in principle, what you're saying is, does it apply to all sports where I don't think it should just be on the first half, it should be on career? To me, that shouldn't be accounted for in certain things, because I think it's contradictory. It's this year's All-Star game. That's who should be. But if Diana Taurasi,
so the second half never
wait
matters.
a minute, let's
second
compare.
Second half never matters of seasons. It's only the first.
So
half.
You're saying the second half of last season, the first half of this season should be for this year's All-Star game?
Why not?
Because it's this year's All-Star game.
So it's only on half a season. So if you're, especially in baseball, if you're the type of player who excels in the second half and plays poorly every year in the first half, and there are baseball players who don't warm up. There's some, I don't know, it's for some reason. So that person never makes an All-Star game?
Yeah.
Damn, it's harsh.
Not if the fans are voting, because it's a popularity vote.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes into play, probably. I mean, I don't know, but no, I don't think that you should take it. The MLB All-Star Game and the WNBA, the NBA, they're in the middle of the season. The NHL shouldn't be dependent upon the second half of the previous season and the first half of this season. I think that's actually ludicrous. I don't think that even makes sense.
You're ludicrous.
Thank you.
That was a good example of sports radio that we did in 97, 2000, like 2006. I don't get that worked up about All-Star games, but I do. But the WNBA thing about the procedure, like if you want to be part of the vote, then vote.
Yeah.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
All right, rolling on with our A's Spotlight. We do it every day to talk about the latest goings on with the A's. And, boy, they're not playing good baseball right now. They got swept. What was the final score? 28-15 in 3 games by the Marlins. Now, before you flip out, the Marlins actually have been really good. They were the best team in June. What was their final record? 20-6 in June. Dodgers were next at 18-9. By the way, you can bet best record for a team month by month. The king of that month. You can do that at William Hill Sportsbooks. But Dodgers and Phillies were tied for second. Brewers were 17-10. And then towards the bottom, listen, the A's weren't the worst in June, but they weren't good. And now they just lost 3 in a row to the Marlins. But A's only went 12-15 in June. The worst teams at the bottom were the Reds and the Mets. Reds were only 9-17 in June.
You toss out the first 2 wins of June 2nd and June 3rd. They will go into Wrigley and they win 2-1 and 5-4. Since after that, they lost 15 of 25, and the ERA for the staff was 6.49.
Yikes.
They gave up in 25 games 48 home runs. That's almost 2 per game. It's very ugly.
The series coming up, Tigers are playing better baseball. They're at Tigers for 3. Those are all 3 o'clock coverage starts. It'll be on Fox Sports Las Vegas, our sister station. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then a weekend series in Chicago, which the White Sox are a pretty damn good story. I saw that Murakami, the Japanese slugger, he's just starting his rehab. So what he got hurt. I think he had 22 homers at the time. White Sox have been one of the great stories in baseball.
They have been. The thing is, they've played well at home. They played exceptionally well at home. They're 28-14 on the south side, so they're a game in front of Cleveland. But when they go on the road, they're 19-28. When they play teams above 500, they're 17-22. So I tend to lean toward Cleveland in the long run.
In that division?
If they have a favor, in that division, in the AL Central. Based on if they have a favorable schedule, which I haven't really broken it down to see how many home games Cleveland has left. Cleveland isn't as great at home, but they're above 500 both home and away. Granted, it's only 3 games above 500. 24-22 in Cleveland, 23-22 on the road. Nevertheless, Cleveland has been overall probably the better team in that division. And they might have played a tougher schedule so far. Chicago, plus 26 run differential. Cleveland's is -9. But if you're asking me right now who I would bet to take that division based on how Chicago plays away from home, I'm probably leaning on Cleveland.
Cleveland's also done a lot of this recently without Jose Ramirez, who was a top 10 player in baseball. White Sox, I know you see the graphic on a rundown, only team in baseball with 3 dudes with 20-plus home runs, and I overdid Murakami. He's got 20. Vargas, the former Dodger prospect, he's got 20, and then Montgomery's got 23. So they have 3 big-time sluggers on their way to probably, with some health, 35-plus home runs.
Yeah.
I'll bring up the number again. 44th win for the White Sox. At that point this year, they were 44-40. A year ago, I think they were, when they got their 44th win, they were 44-81. That's a turnaround.
Shift to the National League on the senior circuit. There was once a time here. I mean, right now the NL West, the Dodgers are running away with it. Diamondbacks and Padres are 14 games back. I think they're going to be battling to even discuss being in the wild card race. But it wasn't too long ago that the Braves were ahead of the pack by near double digits, if not 10 games. I know it was like 8 or 9 games. All of a sudden, Phillies, that offensive surge, ever since that game with Schwarber and Harper, they just went on a tear. They're only 3.5 games out. If they make a run toward the All-Star break, watch out. Talking about performing both on the road and at home. Phillies above 500 at both. Yeah, they're playing well. They're playing well. I mean, they're making up for lost time in the first quarter of the season, if you will, with this offensive surge. Dangerous lineup. At 50-41, 3.5 games back of the Braves. When do they play next? I want to know when that series is because If you like offense, regardless of who's on the mound, the Phillies have been a fun team to watch with the hitting power that they have. They're currently on a road trip with Kansas City. Then they go to Cincinnati. They go to Detroit. They come home and host the lowly New York Mets, the Dodgers, and the Yankees. That'll be an incredible 9-game homestand. They won't play Atlanta again until September. They host the Braves the beginning of September. They travel to Atlanta in the middle of September, and that's it. So there's only 6 games left. Those 6 games could decide the NL East.
Phillies got smoked today, 15-1 by Kansas City. That's a shocker because the Royals have been putrid. Where are the odds going on this one? Huh? Well, Christopher Sanchez had been pitching well. 9 runs in 3 innings. They were minus 165 favorites. I looked at James when you were talking about the Phillies and the gap that they've closed against the Braves.
Yeah,
I have 3-1 on the Phillies to win the division.
Nice.
Because Parles, 30 games into the season, said the Braves have it all sewn up against the Phillies and the Mets. He gave me both the Phillies and the Mets to win the division. I get 3-1.
3 dinners?
Mets have not come through. No, I think it was for a little bit of cash. No dinners.
A little bacon. Nice.
Yeah. So Phillies have bounced back. We'll see if they can do it. Phillies pitching is good.
Phillies pitch is good, but the offense is in my opinion, is carrying it. Christopher Sanchez is having a great season.
And the Braves, the reason I was willing to fire against the Braves after a good start was that at the time, Strider was hurt. He's hurt again, and Acuna's legs are now a mess. So he's had multiple issues with hamstring, and he's down right now. So,
are you still a MLB fantasy guy?
Yeah. Not good at it.
No.
Been terrible this year.
Yeah. You're not really good at fantasy at all. You just get it for the fun of it.
I know. I'm not.
You should just give me the money.
I should.
You should just give me the money and then get in free Yahoo accounts or leagues. You're going to lose anyway. Just give it to me. Donate it to the Kahlua Fund.
I thought I was decent at it, but man, this
You're
year's
not.
not
You
been,
suck.
It's football's even worse.
I've heard.
There's no shame in my game. Actually, I'm in a league, a national league only with Adam Hill, and he and I are second to last and dead last. Not good.
Surprising.
Well, he's actually in a league for once with competitive people who know what they're doing. He talks about these 73 leagues he's in. He cherry picks. He's in with morons. Nothing against anyone who's in a league with Adam Hill, but
in baseball.
Baseball, and I think he does okay in baseball, but no, in football he's in like 70-plus leagues.
Yeah.
And he usually money's in like 40 of the 70. And I'm like, who are you with? Who are these idiots?
Stunads?
Don't take offense to that if I...
What's the SO think about all this? All these leagues?
Oh, I actually mentioned it to her yesterday about... I didn't mention the money amount. Not that she's like overseeing finances, but...
I talked to her.
But she could... Yeah.
She's
fed up. Yeah.
She's fed up.
She's fed up, yeah. It's ugly, man. It's real ugly. So no one else in the NL West really has a shot at the playoffs unless they go on an amazing run. I think the Padres have the talent. I actually like the Diamondbacks
I don't like the
lineup
pitching.
and the pitching, but
I don't.
They're right now. They're both. I mean, you can get the Padres to make the playoffs at plus 275, D-backs plus 365. I actually think the Rockies. It's sad their pitching is so bad. 'Cause their hitter. They have some young hitters now who are coming up. Carrick came up. Obviously, Hunter Goodman's on his way to a big season, but they're 80-1 to make the playoffs. And the Giants,
dare I ask
again,
the question
defies
about the
logic.
Giants?
They're 33-1 to make the playoffs.
Oh, I just want to throw $100 on them just because they're 11 games out of the wild card race, and there's just something weird about that team that if they go on a runner, go on a little heater, make a trade.
Well, are they gonna stay in it or are they gonna sell?
That's the thing. That's what I don't know. What about the Pirates? 46-45 in fourth place. Skeens isn't having the best season that you'd expect. That's an odd division. For a minute there, we were talking about that being the best division, every team over 500, but now the Reds are 41-48. Pirates are 1 game over. The Cardinals are one of those teams I don't care who's on the roster from decade to decade. It's one of those teams that sneak up on you. You can never count them out. But the Brewers and that pitching staff, phenomenal team.
What are you asking me? Should the Pirates go for it? Can they
I
add
think
a little bit? They already did in the offseason.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who's the best fourth-place team? The Giants, the Pirates, the Nationals, the Athletics, the Tigers, or the Orioles?
Most upside? Tigers. I mean, Scooble's back, so as long as they don't trade him.
Pitching, yeah.
Mize hasn't been healthy, but if he and they might trade him too. That was a weird question. Who's the best fourth place team in baseball?
Yeah. Well, that's what this show's about.
Weird questions. I would love to say the A's,
Digging deep,
but they're falling apart.
Yeah.
The pitching finally just ran out of gas.
I hate to separate my shoulder, pat myself on the back, but since we started this A's stuff, these segments every day, the A's spotlight, I've said since week 1, I don't like their pitching, and their pitching's been what's done them in. Because at times their hitting's been phenomenal. Otherwise, it's been there. Their pitching just can't get it done. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's horrendous.
So I mentioned the Marlins because they just took care of business against the A's. Marlins have been a really good story this year because while the Mets, and I don't mention payrolls very often, but it's significant, the Mets are trying. They're just spending poorly, and they had a rash of injuries to key players, and they let Polar Bear walk, and Polanco just hasn't played. But if you had told someone before the season that there'd be a 12-game gap, 11.5-game gap between the Marlins on the positive side over the Mets, people laughed at you.
Are you surprised at, or do you, well, actually, I'm not, I was going to say he's got a decent record, right? But his ERA is questionable. But Sandy Alcantara hasn't been, last year, this year, if you combine, but he's finding ways to win, but he's made 19 starts, he's 10-4. He started the season a little questionable, but he's come on strong. Is he the sort of the, as the veteran, the key? Because, I mean, he was once considered the ace. I don't know if, I mean, Max Meyer, right, is...
He's bounced back. He's been good.
7-0, 2.98 ERA his last 7 starts. If that pitching staff stays steady, can they make a run?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they have some good young stars in the lineup, too. Otto Lopez is a guy that I don't think a lot of people know a whole lot about, but he's having a monster season. What's he hitting, like 340? They have a good young core. Which brings me to something kind of interesting. You see the way people, some of the comments are from people, and bots latch on to certain stories. And there was some baseball account that had a video of the GM of the Marlins, a guy named Peter Bendix. And it was just slugged, "This is who is telling managers what to do." And I sort of get what they were getting at, because it's this guy, Peter Bendix, who has glasses. He looks nerdy, very effeminate voice. And I get the basic gist. Like, hey, the nerds have taken over, old school baseball guys. You know, can you imagine Billy Martin or Earl Weaver, or, you know, if you want to go to more recent times, and
Don Zimmer.
Right. Well, I was going to say some of the old school guys now
that
they have to listen to the nerds. But in the case with this dude, it turned into this like hack fest of junior high level bagging on him, calling him gay because of his voice. And I was like, what? Where are we coming from with this? Here's the other thing. His background is the Rays. It seems like everyone who's worked with the Rays, they're brilliant. So you probably want the Rays nerds. Yeah. The Dodgers are run by the Rays nerds. Andrew Friedman. Like, it's working. So I didn't understand. Like, it was like, what, all these wannabe baseball, like people who played base. I don't know. You topped out in Little League, and you're like, who is this dork?
Steve,
he obviously knows what he's doing.
We just had this conversation with Doug. It's just transitioned the sport. It's keyboard warriors who think that they know everything, right? Just a month and a half ago, it was NHL keyboard warriors who think that they knew better about every decision that was being made with this team or that team in the playoffs. Colorado Avalanche sucked. They shouldn't have been swept. Carter Hart, Golden Knights, blah, blah, blah.
Live from the Findlay Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, World Cup USA, Belgium about to start here. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening. If you didn't see the controversy of the last couple of days, Balogun is playing. Red card is deferred, so he's eligible tonight. And many soccer fans and clubs, nations are speaking out against it, saying this is confusing. What happened to the consistency? So they're very angry.
Sharp play text has arrived. They're playing Belgium plus 115.
Okay. Sharp play text.
I don't
think we've gotten one of those on the air. Have we?
I told because it was. I think it was a couple weeks ago. We talked about that the sharp players had been hitting totals in the World Cup. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just got a text in the 4:00 hour. It said sharp play Belgium plus 115.
So let me finish up on what we were talking about before the break, and that is, well, one, let's establish. No, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say, let's establish that the internet is not the real world. In many ways, it is, but there's a lot more bravery on social media. And we were just mentioning the GM from the Marlins is a guy who's bespectacled, and he looks kind of nerdy. And Peter Bendix, and he went to Tufts, and he's moved up the ladder in baseball. He spent 14 years with the Rays, who were an unbelievable organization. Now he's with the Marlins, and the results are speaking, right? Marlins are good. They just kick the crap out of the A's. And I often think when I see negative comments and people, trying to take down individuals with childish statements, is it just a jealousy thing? Are there people who actually look at a guy who's a GM in Major League Baseball and are like, he didn't play, he looks like a nerd. I could be doing that. Do you think that's part of the motivation? That they're unhappy? Because my answer to them would be like, well, why didn't you or why don't you? Right. Isn't this actually refreshing? That access to be a Major League Baseball GM or work in sports is actually a lot easier now than it's ever been?
I could do a better job than you. Do it. Do it.
Right. We say it all the time. You could do this. You could do sports talk radio. It's easier now than ever to get in. Now, it might not be doing terrestrial, but what's the difference? It's more than competitive with podcasts. A lot of people do a great job in the podcast world and content creators and all that. Anyone can do it. So I found it weird, the whole attacking this guy because he succeeded and he's running an organization well and people are mad. What would managers say? I don't know what. You know what? I'll say this. In radio, my bosses look a lot different than they did 25 years ago. Wasn't a whole lot of diversity. Weren't a lot of women working in positions of power.
Yeah. That was one of the contract I just signed. One of the managing editors, she was like, there are times and there are days and there's going to be last minute this and that. And I run into the younger. I really had contentious conversation because I think that the younger generation, they have a hard time taking direction. I was like, look, I've been doing this a long time. You need me to do something. I said, the only thing, there's going to just be certain little quirks that just, hey, I'm halfway through a story and all of a sudden you want me to switch gears and we're scrapping a story or this, that, the other. Other than that, I don't care who you are taking direction. You know what you're doing. You're in a position that you're in. Send them. If you want me to do something, just do it. But the people that question other people's what they're doing or I could do a better job. You've heard me say this many a time when it comes to the Golden Knights. I don't understand what some of the decisions that Kelly McCrimmon's made, but I'm not about to question the guy. He's been doing it. He's owned hockey clubs in Canada, and he's been doing this for X amount of time, and now he's a big reason. He's a brainstorm. Probably 75-80% of the reason why the Golden Knights have been successful in their first 9 seasons as a hockey team and been to the Stanley Cup final. He's made tough decisions in getting rid of coaches and players. People question him all the time. If you were the general manager, I guarantee you, the garden variety public that think, I could do a better job, this is BS, you wouldn't have the Golden Knights in 3 Stanley Cup finals in 9 years.
This isn't exactly a direct comparison, but we'll get into it with Caleb Herring. There is a news item out there that UNLV will be offering a major in sports hospitality management. So it's kind of everything that goes around, basically work in sports, right? But that would be a major, not hospitality, sports hospitality management.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It says the program covers sponsorship, revenue generation, event operations. So for everyone out there.
It's right town.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
For people out there who are like, man, I'd love to be gifted into the sports world. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I remember when the LVCVA and R&R advertising, they walked hand in hand. Now there's so many PR firms that are brought in and this and that, but they have their own divisions, a sports division that are doing things in terms of they've been on top of the campaign to bring the national championship here. They're invited to the last year's national championship to sort of hand the ball off, if you will. That sports division decided not to host the World Cup, but yes, it'd be a fantastic idea. This is the right town to do that.
I said the internet's not a real place, but it does get us in its clutches every once in a while. And you send these over, but I wonder if you even play along for like 1 out of 10 of these National Food Days.
I do.
Does it inspire you to maybe go get a food item that you have forgotten, that you were disrespecting lately?
Well, I don't know about disrespecting, but there are 100% days when I look at that site and send it over for the show that I will go get that food for that day and then post it somewhere.
Believe it or not, there is a National Hot Dog Day coming up, but it follows the 4th of July,
which is weird.
Unofficial hot dog day. Did you have a hot dog or some sort of wiener-like
They
food
tear
this
my
weekend?
stomach up, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had a bratwurst.
I can
was
do
good.
hot links.
Really? But that doesn't tear you up?
No. I don't ask me why it's weird. There's just certain.
Hot dogs are clean living, though. I mean, we all know that. It's only the best stuff in there.
Yeah. I remember as a kid,
I know.
When you eat them raw.
Yeah.
Did you ever eat them raw?
No. Nope. You're an animal.
Maybe that's why I can't eat them now.
Maybe. But, you grew up on the mean streets. It's a little different. Yeah. Today is actually National Fried Chicken Day.
Yeah.
I really got to stay under control.
Why?
I started making a list.
I saw it.
And
yeah, I think you have to have categories and divisions, because there are places that do strips, nuggets. There's actual chicken like.
I love strips. I love chicken sandwiches, but I think on National Fried Chicken Day, it's got to be bone-in.
It's got to be fried chicken.
It's got to be bone.
Like if you go to a place and they bring out fried chicken, the chicken breast has been battered and fried.
Yeah.
It's not strips. It's not fingers. It's not.
I love strips. I got to tell you, one of the cardinal sins we're seeing now, and I know it's easier, but if you're going to do chicken and waffles, you bring out, everyone's doing strips now.
Right. And you know what? And it's not just wings. It's got to be the whole piece. You know what I'm saying? The whole
I'm not going to fight that
piece. And there's only a few places that I'll respect that do that. And I'm going over to historic Las Vegas. Can I mention one of the places? Can we do that or not?
Mention every place that's here or whatever.
No, well, I actually, when I saw Mario's West Side Market, I remember the original one. But there's a place over by Doolittle called Grits Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Best soul food place in town, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think they're open late, though.
There's one on Rainbow. I can't remember the name.
I need
it
now after work.
Oh, there's one on Rainbow, and I can't remember the name. It's actually.
I don't plan.
It'd be up for your. It'd be in your.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's the argument.
Farm Basket's a good mention.
I know. It's
that
but on
place?
National Fried Chicken Day, do you go Korean?
I mean, here's the thing. If it's fried chicken, you go where your favorite fried chicken. Because I'm about to tell you, you'd be surprised what one of my favorite fried chicken is, and it's not a place.
Grocery store?
Grocery store, the old school.
I thought about that today.
Big box, the banquet, and you put it in the oven, and you sit there and wait for 40 minutes. It comes out nice and crispy.
What?
Yes.
You're talking frozen?
Yeah.
No.
I'm telling you.
You mentioned banquet?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You have
I'm shocked by that.
You have to do
You're
it right,
snooty,
though.
but
No microwave.
You are a man of the streets.
No microwave. It's got to be. You
You
got
gotta
to do
bake
it right. You got to bake it, or you could do the air fryer.
Yeah.
Or you do it. Or you know what? You pick up a package and you get the big brown paper bag. You throw flour in there with seasoning. You shake it up. Drop it in oil.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it at home. I know, because I'll blow it. This is the time for experts. On National Fried Chicken Day, you go somewhere where they have some expertise.
You wouldn't call. What time was 5? So at 5:30, call the SO and have her get it ready.
She's not making.
You know what I would do if I was doing it at home? I would have the side burner on the grill outside with the big pot that's already tore up, and pour the container of oil, and then do it all outside so the house doesn't smell like oil.
It's a lot of work. Can I just buy it?
You're lazy.
I am lazy. Can I just buy it?
I say you go to your favorite place to do it, but then for backup, later this week, you do my suggestion and try the big box from the and bake it. Do you think that they'll celebrate tonight to win over Belgium with National Fried Chicken?
They better win. That's the first part. They're losing. It's 1-0.
Belgium, sharp play
in the 9th minute. Yep.
Sharp play.
There you go.
There you go.
Are you going to get fried chicken or not?
It's a possibility. I have to pick up Kahlua, so I got to see what he wants. He's in on everything.
Do you feed your dog scraps?
No.
It's pretty muscle, though.
I don't.
I don't think he's going to mess with that stuff.
I don't.
Would he even eat it? Would he eat human food?
That dude would eat whatever, but no, he gets healthy scraps. Don't get me wrong. Like if I'm trimming, when I'm preparing.
I've heard this before. Yes.
Yeah.
Your dog eats better than most of us.
Yeah.
But he's also why he's
that's why he's yoked.
That's why he's built like a brick. You know what house?
Yeah.
He's a truck.
Yeah, he's got to get his injections too.
All right. I will take a picture of the fried chicken to make you jealous.
Right.
I'm going to try not to do pure fast food.
The farm basket was
we'll
strong entry, by the way, just like the old school one on West Charleston when they had their
it's a good spot.
The clucker.
I have hunchos here. I've got a couple of Korean joints. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The ride home is perilous. If I sniff something, if I think of a drink, you never know what I'm going to stop for. You don't know what neighborhood I'm going to be in. You don't know.
I'm not even going to touch any of that. There's so many comebacks for that. I'll just leave it alone.
You wrote a story for Ball is Life.
Yeah.
And I think you've mentioned
I've written several.
These three, well, you were, I don't know that a lot of people around the country have thought about who could possibly own the NBA team here.
This show triggered this story, by the way.
And you have Foley, you have Mark Davis, you have Magic Johnson. I'm still wondering who the other money people, because Magic has money, but not $7 to $10 billion.
Well, the fact that he has interest in, the portfolio includes the Dodgers, the Sparks, the Washington Spirit, the LAFC, the Commanders. It's not as if he doesn't have parties who might be interested in bringing.
I wish I knew his
team.
Finances. Like if he could put together $1 billion,
just toss it together real quick.
I saw a note last week.
But here's the thing. Hang on. Here's the thing. With that, since he's lent his name to these teams, his trophy case: 3 World Series titles, a WNBA Finals victory back in '16, an MLS Cup. There's got to be something that his name lends, or to be able to pick up a call or build or say, hey, come play for us. No tampering, but what I did was I named each person with a little intro, and I put the case for Johnson. And I've talked about this on the show for different reasons. But my case was that he always loves Las Vegas. He'd be a natural fit. The proximity to L.A. has always made Vegas a home away from home for the Lakers. Plenty of Vegas-based Lakers fans who would embrace Johnson. But, bit deeper, Johnson cares about the community. After Los Angeles' Rodney King riots, Johnson made it no secret he wanted to build businesses in black neighborhoods. That effort extended to not just South Central L.A., but across the country as well. At the time, Johnson noted that championships didn't mean a thing if he couldn't make a difference in black communities. What many people may not realize, he helped fund the rebuild of historic West Las Vegas when those Rodney King riots burnt down a lot of plazas over there. So he's always been fond of it. He'd come here as a player in the 80s and hang out. He'd party here. He'd visit here. He's got interests here. I don't know the business is all that he's invested in, but he does have business interests. He would make a great NBA owner for Las Vegas.
Did you get any reaction on this?
No.
I would assume the most negative that you would get would be on Mark Davis from people outside the market who don't know MD and what he does for the market. And also probably don't realize that the WNBA team is his, and they've been very successful.
This show inspired this story because you posed the question, who would you rather have as the NBA owner, Bill Foley or Mark Davis? So I said, let me take it a step further for Ball is Life.
Willie headline: LeBron James has governors, the NHL, and the NFL waiting for his decision. What does that mean?
I had no clue about this, but here's the lead from Tim Reynolds of the Associated Press. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz made his sales pitch. So did DJ Khaled, the New York Jets, and the Winnipeg Jets. Even the PGA Tour took a swing, trying to appeal to someone who has quickly become obsessed with golf. We're waiting for you, Braun, the tour posted on social media. Get in line. Every team in every league, it would seem, wants LeBron James. What and how does the PGA Tour get involved and want LeBron? Where do they want him? DJ Khaled said, let's do it again. Let's run it back. I think there's only one place for him, and I've been saying this, so I don't know about you. But
you're going Cleveland?
Yes. I think because he's going to – I think he has to go into the Hall of Fame. as a Cleveland Cavalier. I don't think he can go in as a member of the Miami Heat. I don't think he can go in as a Laker. I don't think he – it's tough to say this, but I don't think that he belongs among the Laker greats. Right. I just don't. He belongs among the NBA greats of all time, but he doesn't belong among the Magic Johnsons, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Kobe Bryants, the Shaquille O'Neals. I just don't. Just like I don't think Shaquille O'Neal belongs among the Orlando Magic greats. I think that he belongs among the Laker greats. LeBron should go in the Hall of Fame as a Cleveland Cavalier. And James Harden's coming back. Donovan Mitchell. It's not like it's a bad team. I think that he walks into an advantageous situation. Anywhere else, he's not. I don't know. I just think that there's too much with all the other teams that are being brought up. Giannis in Miami. Does he go to Miami and play second fiddle? Jalen. I just don't see him with Philly. I don't see him in Golden State. I don't see that working. I don't. I see it working in Cleveland.
And everyone's going to keep nixing my Celtics. I don't like the Celtics, but I think that would be an awesome story.
How dumb was the trade they made?
They didn't want him. They came out and said it. We don't want to have two guys on the roster taking up 60 or 70% of the money, and I don't think they trust him completely. And it wasn't like they turned down great deals. I think that was what they were going to get. So it seems shocking to see that top 5 scorer in the NBA go for what appears to be very little, but if there were no offers, then you take what you can get if you really want to get rid of someone.
Well, okay.
Now, did they sell low at the wrong time?
Well, maybe. I mean, they're getting Paul George. All due respect to what Paul George has done, that's it's an uneven trade. What I think the problem is, what happened is they dangled him out there in trying to get Giannis. They kind of ostracized the guy and dangled him out there, and it didn't work, and it backfired. And now he's like, I don't want to play for you guys.
Right. And I'm sure most of the people around the league are like, well, you're looking pretty desperate, so here's my offer.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
And maybe they set themselves up with capital to get maybe they set themselves up for capital to go after LeBron. I don't know. Turn around and make another blockbuster trade? I don't know, but I just they shot themselves in the foot with the Giannis deal. That's the bottom line. And they dangled this kid out there, and now he's going to go and now New York and Philly are going to be the class of the Atlantic Division.
Belgium's up 1-0. They're in the 18th minute. USA is trailing in this one. Caleb Herring's coming up. We got some UNLV football news to get into and a lot more on his Lakers.
You're listening to ESPN Las Vegas from the Findlay Toyota studio.
All right, let's bring in Caleb Herring on hoopage, a little football, some news out of UNLV. World Cup right now, Belgium up 1-0 on USA as they go into the 24th minute. Willie, you got a text from someone about your LeBron Cavalier should be his final spot. I almost said resting spot. He's not dying.
Yeah. I did, and I'll answer it. Mike makes a good point, but to answer you, I'm not smoking live on the air, Mike. Bro, LeBron is a Lakers legend. He brought relevance to the team when there were none. People who say LeBron doesn't belong in the Lakers lore, you either didn't watch enough or you have to be holding on to LeBron hate before he came to L.A. I don't hate LeBron. LeBron is in the top 10 because of who he is. Y'all tripping. I have given LeBron credit for not only uplifting and revitalizing the Lakers at the COVID time, but also the entire league, because it was at a time where the entire, not just the sports world, but the world needed something, and LeBron was a big part of that. So I agree in terms of the top 10, yes, but I still think that he is a Hall of Famer as a Cleveland Cavalier, not as a Los Angeles Laker. But, Mike, your point is taken. It does make sense. I just can't picture him. When he's retired, I'm not going to say – I'm going to remember him as a Cleveland Cavalier more than I'm going to remember him as an L.A. Laker. But I do appreciate your text.
Caleb Herring is with us. Caleb, what's going on, buddy?
Other than the blasphemy of LeBron being considered among the great Lakers of all time, nothing much. Sports is everywhere right now. Summertime, heating up, literally. So it's been great for me.
What do you think of what's sort of quietly unfolded the last couple of days about the split between LeBron and the Lakers and more news coming out. Like, the Lakers knew they weren't going to keep him around as soon as they brought in Luka.
Yeah, I think if that's the case, you should have traded him and got value back for him, right? I mean, I call a little bit of BS on that take. I think there was probably some sort of option that was on the table for if this event came, but I don't think the Lakers wanted to let LeBron walk away and spend his final season, which is going to be a money bag guaranteed for whatever franchise he goes to in terms of revenue generation. But I don't think that was the original plan for the Lakers. And then, like I said, if it was, you should have traded him and got the maximum value back for him. But they didn't, and they tried to hold on to hope, and LeBron James understood the chips that he had in his corner, and he played the game like a free agent should. And now he's created sort of a summer spectacle around his free agency, and it's been ever since Giannis got traded, it's been the talk of the offseason really on what's going to happen with LeBron's free agency and who's going to be lucky enough to land him for what could be his final stint, if not final season.
Caleb Herring is with us, the former UNLV quarterback. We always talk a little NBA, and then we'll get on to football here in a couple minutes. How do you react to Stephen A. Smith saying that the Lakers are too white? The no-time Lakers. Too white. Not gonna scare anyone. Too white.
I've heard it said plenty of other ways. More Ovaltine, please, was one of my favorites. But it was off-putting, I guess, to say it nicely. I don't think it strikes the right tone to me. I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment in today's NBA. There's plenty of let's say white guys that have carried franchises to championships. Joker being the most recent, who's carrying a franchise right now by himself. He's extremely talented. I guess you call him white. He's foreign. I don't know what you want to call that, but Dirk Nowitzki, one of the greatest of all time to do it, carry that Mavericks team, one of the best finals runs of all time.
How about if we specify too many American whites? Reeves and this Kessler guy, Stephen A. said this Kessler guy's not going to scare anyone.
And that's the thing, because the lead dog in the I guess whites of it, you got to put Luka in as the lead dog, right? Like, he's not American white, so I mean that makes a difference, right? So why would you even bring up this notion with this Laker team? I will say, immediately after they went and signed some people of color, let's say, after it with Quentin Rhimes and Colin Sexton, but I get what he was trying to do, and it worked effectively. He got all the clicks, whether they're good or bad. He got them all. He got the attention. He said it really on his podcast, so he was a little bit safer and more protected from the scrutiny of ESPN coming down on him. But I wouldn't have said it if I was him. I get the sentiment for sure, but I wouldn't have said it.
On to UNLV news, and we'll get back to World Cup and some more NBA in a couple of minutes. I thought this was pretty interesting that I don't know if you saw this, but, you're a UNLV guy through and through, and UNLV is going to be offering Nevada's first ever undergraduate degree in sports hospitality management. It is going to come from the school, the College of Hospitality, the William F. Harrah College of Hospitality. Pretty interesting move, and the statement is that it's coming in conjunction with the massive growth of sports, Major League sports here in Vegas.
I think it is a huge move, and I think it makes sense. They've already had, you mentioned the School of Hospitality, has already been one of the top schools in the country when it comes to hospitality, and for obvious reasons with what Vegas is and kind of how we know how to put on a show for regular entertainment. But I think sports entertainment is a different animal. And it is a different market, and it is a different skill set, if you will, for those looking to dive into that industry. And with Vegas booming this way, it's a pathway for UNLV to be involved in local job growth, if that makes sense. If you get, UNLV graduates who are then stepping right into careers right down the street at high end, not just, mediocre sporting events, but within major franchises, the Aces, the Raiders, the A's coming to town, you name it, Super Bowls all over the place. Like, these people will be getting hired for big time jobs right out of college if they're qualified. Obviously getting that qualification. It's a good thing for the community in Las Vegas and a good thing for UNLV to be able to have that as kind of a stable. Yeah, we're good at hospitality, the hotels, the vacations, but we also put on quite a show with our sporting events, and that has been the case, like with the Golden Knights and what they're able to do. A big part of their success is the entertainment value and the things that they bring that are not just X's and O's or the stick and the puck on the ice. It's the entertainment that the whole experience brings. And I think having a school that offers that degree is giving people a leg up in the job market locally.
Another cool thing for UNLV, a good friend of both of ours, Hunky Cooper, former UNLV football star, long and affectionately known as the godfather of arena football. He was recognized as one of the nation's best, honored by Athlon Sports as one of the nation's top player development leaders. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And I tell you, from seeing him on the ground and being around him during football season especially, he's a go-getter, and he puts his all into everything UNLV. Obviously, making his way back to his alma mater was a big deal for him, and getting the role that he is in now, it means a lot to him to help young men. And, again, we talked last time about the stories of UNLV history, and he's one of those stories of just hearing how he was brought up and what he went through and how he was used at UNLV as a Swiss Army knife of sorts. Obviously, a Hall of Famer here in Southern Nevada. He deserves it. It's funny. We text him. We got a group text, and I text him. I said, 11? And with a question mark. That's the best you could do? And, of course, he's like, I should be higher. But he does everything. He does anything you need at UNLV. Hunky has a hand in it, and he knows at least where to get you going. So, well-deserved by Hunky. I'm looking at him climbing up that ladder as long as he can.
Real quick, let me get in for an update. Belgium basically just did an Alyssa Thomas, Caitlin Clark on Balogun, and they didn't do that. But there was a foul outside the box, about 20 yards out, and free kick was awarded to the U.S., and Malik Tillman, perfect shot, just outside the box in 1-1 tie.
Nice.
1-1 tie. Your guy did it, Caleb. Your guy did it. We got a full squad because your guy Trump made the call. Good job, buddy.
Yes, Donald Trump saves America again. Like that, he's going to take credit for everything good that ever happened in this country, right? He was there apparently when they signed the Declaration of Independence. I didn't know, but somehow he's credited with that. This guy's amazing. But USA though, 1-1. Way to get back in it. We're still in the first half, right? We're early. I'm not in front of my television yet.
33rd minute. Okay, more of the All-Mountain West Conference preseason teams are out. Some of the familiar names are on the Athlon list, just like Phil Steele's list. I know you got a chance to take a gander at this, and there were some different names that we saw this time around who I think are going to be really key. I took Jet Thomas and Jackson Arnold out of the mix and wanted to ask you, based on these all-conference teams, who is the most pivotal player on these lists for UNLV football to have a big season?
It's hard not to say anyone on this list that's a D lineman. I think that's a very important position group to watch all season long. I know the depth at that position has been an issue for a couple of years now, even with the success of the team. But especially last season, in terms of stopping the run, I keep going back to that Boise State game where they just ran all over, and it looked like the defensive line was just outmatched and outplayed, really, in that game. And that was probably the point for me. I was like, that needs to be addressed immediately, or at least in the offseason. I don't think on paper it was, but the guys mentioned here had impact player capabilities. So I think they need to make a huge impact on that defensive line. And there's some guys that didn't play much that maybe should, like Landon Thomas at the end. I think he's a name that getting on one of these lists, I think, shows that people do have expectations of what he's going to do and become on that defensive front. But does he develop and does he show it in between the lines? I think is key for the defensive success to bounce back, to get back to where they were a couple of seasons ago when they were one of the best defensive teams in the conference. I think the D-line has to be shored up first, and then everything else will kind of fall into place after that.
Yeah, I think one of their transfer offensive linemen, Jackson Brown, who was at Pitt and Cal, they have high hopes for him, but I think he's important because it gives them an option on the edge on the left side so that if Will Thomas is not consistent, that he can get kicked over the right side or move inside to a guard position. I think they need someone to step up and play tackle, especially with the fact that one of their starting tackles from a year ago has been moved to center, Austin Boyd.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's probably one of the things that, like I said, going back a few years, where you got guys shuffling around the offensive line trying to find their spot. And Will Thomas is a guy who has the attitude and demeanor of offensive lineman, that mean streak that you really want. He's a big guy, obviously, but sometimes inconsistency, like you said, is an issue, and the penalties were definitely a big issue, especially early in his career. So if he's not consistent, you want to have some depth at that position, but you want guys playing their true position. And I know we talked and made a big deal the last couple of seasons about cross-training and getting guys ready in the event of injury to get your best five out there, not necessarily the best guard, the best tackle, the best so-and-so, but getting your best five regardless if there's a position switch. But I think you want, as best you can, to keep guys where they're comfortable. And I think that's the case with Austin Boyd, who probably, I'm assuming, may have been experimented outside at tackle when they were trying to find depth at that position. But he's an interior lineman. I think that's where he's going to be best suited. Obviously, taking over at the center spot right now, but an interior lineman and an outside lineman are two different positions with what you got as far as support on either shoulder. So I think you're right. I think that is a key position offensively. But the only reason I didn't put offensive players, because I don't think the offense is in trouble. I don't think the offense really needs the help. I think it's clear the defense was where the help is needed, and I think those defensive linemen are going to be big. But Brown is going to be huge as well. If he gets into that rotation and can solidify himself as one of the guys, he's going to be huge.
UNLV football 54 days away from the opener on August 29th. Camp for the fall will open up at the end of this month. Tell me if I'm wrong on this one, because they've had so much stability at linebacker, with at least one linebacker was out there for like 80% of the plays. Do they need at least one of their linebackers to be stabilizing force? Is it Blessing, Alualu, Tuiamotu? It could be Cam Santee. It could be the players they brought in from TCU or Clemson. But in the case of Blessing, he's the guy who's been around. Can you go with a full rotation of linebackers and survive, or do you have to have someone who's out there much of the time, especially if it's a green dot?
I think if there's a green dot situation, that makes a huge difference. If the defense kind of runs through the linebacker, which I think it has for the last few seasons, going back to Jackson Woodard and going his way with that kind of thing. I think, you need to have a guy. I think ideally, though, especially looking at Blessing in particular, I think his energy and the way he plays, I think he has there's a lot to put on him to say you have to carry us for the entire game. You have to be on the field for us to function at 100% capacity just because of his style of play. And his style of play isn't bad. He's a kinetic guy. He's all over the field. He's got, I think, a little bit more speed than Marcel McDuffie, who was in the middle last year. So I think he plays sideline to sideline, if you will, a little bit better from that linebacker position. And if you have a host of linebackers behind him, you can get more out of him, giving him more frequent breaks and things like that throughout the course of the game. So I think it will be to their benefit to utilize depth more than just having one or two guys that are always on the field and giving guys a series off here or there a little bit more frequently. But I do think Blessing is primed to have a breakout year. I think reuniting with his linebacker coach that recruited him, Mike Shearer, who's back at UNLV, I think is going to have a big impact on him. I think the style of defense from the linebacker position is going to get tightened up. And just from watching Mike Shearer coach in the time he was here with under Barry Odom, I think his technical soundness was missed a little bit at times last year. And really his defensive mindset. I mean, he's a former defensive coordinator. Now he's coming back down to a position group that he played and is more familiar with and can focus in on more. So attention to detail, I think, at that linebacker spot for Blessing and everybody in the group is going to be a little bit higher than it was last year.
Back to the NBA with Caleb Herring. Can you make sense of the Jaylen Brown trade now that we're hearing more and more about who he is and the money aspect of this? Or did Philly win this in massive fashion, and now Philly may go on to win some titles?
I think you could look at it like Philly won, I think, and that's all pending on Joel Embiid, how far they go and his health. They've got a core right now with Jaylen Brown and Maxey and Edgecombe coming off the bench. They've got a core that can be lethal, especially in the East. But Joel is going to be the key to that. The Celtics angle of this is what doesn't make sense. I think if you're the Sixers, get rid of Paul George, an aging former superstar maybe, who has some games here or there. Yeah, get him off, get Jaylen Brown, pave the way for the future, right? Makes sense. But for the Celtics, I think the way they went about dangling Jaylen Brown out there, it's almost like they intentionally embarrassed him to make it easier to let him go. We've gone for years, even when they won the championship, of Jaylen Brown's team or Jason Tatum's team, that kind of duality. It wasn't as messy as Shaq and Kobe, let's say, when that team had to finally choose a course in terms of public outrage, and Kobe and Shaq got publicly nasty. Tatum and Brown at least haven't done that. But the Celtics have treated it as if they knew Tatum was their guy all along and just got the most they could out of Jaylen Brown, including the fact that after his best season individually, that's the time they decided to try to go for the big trade. And that makes sense from a business standpoint, right? Like, he had an MVP caliber year. He's a finals MVP. All these things that he has listed as an accolade, he's worthy of Giannis. And then the market said, no, he's not. And the Miami Heat ended up landing Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that was a reality check for the Celtics and Jaylen Brown of his actual value when people have to or can ask for him. And I think you go from Giannis to Paul George and a couple picks, and that kind of speaks for itself what people think of you. What that's about, his personality, all these other things that are outside distractions that are really just character assassination things to me, not my problem. I'm strictly basketball. Jaylen Brown is a valuable player. He will make the Sixers better, and we'll see if the Celtics, with their still solid roster top to bottom, if they can still be a power in the East without him.
Are you on Cameron Carr watch for the Lakers Summer League team?
I absolutely am, and so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think he fits a need is the most important thing. I think we need somebody that can score and finish off of assists, and they've run several sets. And, the Lakers, obviously, organization want to test him out in Summer League, and he's come through so far. They run sets for him. He comes up with buckets. He hit 4 threes in the last game, I think, in Summer League, 26 points. Versatile with his scoring. He's a threat in the mid-range, which I think the Lakers are missing and have been missing for a while. Somebody that can score at that second level, not just a three or a layup. So I think that's going to be important, and which is why I have my eye off on DeMar DeRozan's free agency, because he's another guy that could step in and be that second-level scorer. But no, Carr's doing what he needs to do for Summer League. It's just a matter if he can be consistent, and obviously when he steps into the real arena, if he can have the same sort of output or at least confidence in what he can do. Because right now he's playing like a confident player, and he looks like what the Lakers are not necessarily need, because he's going to be young. He's going to get worked into the rotation, but he could be this year's Dylan Harper for the Spurs, right? Like, if the Lakers have a good year, he gets to take his time coming off the rotation and being an impact player, maybe off the bench. I think he could have that kind of rookie year.
Did you watch many highlights of Carr and the rest of the Lakers in the abbreviated Summer League? Did you see – boy, this guy's really going to piss off Stephen A. Smith. Did you see John Elmore, who is – I'll put it this way. He's an American bald. He's a true white bald, but he's not a white bald like Willie, because most bald dudes now will shave off everything. John Elmore is a true, like, throwback bald when you would leave the hair around the head. Like, no one does that anymore. And it's jarring when you see it. You're like, wait, who's the assistant coach playing? Or like, he's 31, but he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, that's what's funny about it, because you get past that and you're like, well, he can kind of hoop, right? But I wasn't focused solely on him, but I did see him passing the jokes.
Look him up. Look him up. It's jarring. He is like YMCA white. Like, you walk in, you're like, this guy can't play, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, he just made 17 threes in a row and he's destroying me.
Yeah, and there's always that guy, right? 25, whatever gym you go to, there's a guy you size up. You always like to size up people to fight. Yep. You walk in the gym and you size up a guy that's like, I got him. Like, and there's that guy. And then he just lights you up, and it's like a humbling experience. Everybody's had it, but he's that guy. Like, you might want to go switch off on that guy. But, always some sort of surprise in Summer League.
Last minute with Caleb Herring, I know you got wind of and you saw some of the highlights of Kelsey and Swift at MSG. The guest list, too much?
1,000 people?
That's a lot.
For your wedding? The most important day probably in your lives, cementing your bond in front of 1,000 people. That's too much. I couldn't name 1,000 people that I care enough about to know their address to send an invitation to. This is ridiculous. I get it, you're a celebrity, but celebrities don't have 1,000 friends. They have 1,000 acquaintances that they know how to be polite to when they see each other. I just think we've got to get these weddings under control. These celebrity weddings are you can do it. You can afford to get Madison Square Garden. You can afford your Dior dress that's custom made for you. You can do all that. You can give your gifts away to everybody in attendance and have those kind of parties and gifts for your attendees. That's great for you. But what you're doing is for the common man like myself, whose SO looks and sees these things. You're glamorizing what a wedding should be and creating unrealistic expectations for the common folk. I need to stop it. 1,000 people is ridiculous. Dior for everyone, ridiculous. Reel it in a little bit, Swifties.
Wait till you see what they have planned for the baby reveal.
Stop.
Oh, God. It's like the second coming of Christ, I bet.
I have a lot of things swirling around my head, but I don't want to say them. None of them are nice. None of them are nice. All right, Caleb. Put the brakes on that one. Nice job. We're skidding into the end of the show. We appreciate it, buddy.
I appreciate you guys. Go USA, baby.
Go John Elmore. And go USA. They're down 2-1. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. The manager was mad on the USA side. All right, Caleb, we appreciate it, buddy. We'll come back. We'll close it out in the grab bag. But going to the 46th minute here, USA, with 6 minutes of extra time in the first half, down 2-1.
Cofield and Company presents Grab Bag on ESPN Las Vegas.
Get your hand in there, Dave.
Are you feeling good about this? U.S. is down 2-1. They got a corner kick here with probably a minute left in the first half. Belgium responded really quickly after the free kick goal by the U.S.
Friend of the show, Arash Markazi, is there. He's shooting videos out to.
That was terrible. Right to the keeper.
So
not the way I would do a corner
so
kick.
the two home countries are going to pull clunkers 2 days in a row and bow out.
Stop. Don't be negative. Still got a whole half.
Just saying. Ball don't lie.
If you want to tell people what I was doing during the break, what do you think is more important to me? Making sure that I watch USA soccer in the second half, or somehow whittle down my list of fried chicken places?
Well, I think
There's
it's a
an
combo.
intensity right now that's setting in.
I think it's important for you to get fried chicken to go home and watch the second half of USA Belgium.
I don't think I'll make it in time.
You will.
I might just loiter around a chicken place.
You will. No, you'll just.
I'm also not an efficient orderer, so I have to order online because if I go to a restaurant, it'll just take me forever to order.
Oh, don't. You sit there and dilly-dally.
Yeah, I call it.
You awful.
I guess it's FOFU, fear of effing up my order.
You
I get really nervous.
You ever seen the late great comedian John Panette's
of course
rants about people and standing in line and
like let's get a move on.
Let's go. I could have read this. I could have read the menu front to back, back to front. It's the same thing that they've had. KFC, they got chicken. McDonald's, I could read it. I mean, it's never changed. Order. You should know when you go to the place. It's National Fried Chicken Day. What are we doing here?
There's a lot of options. We were just looking at the one restaurant. There's like 30 options.
Just get a meal deal.
And you have to understand when you know that when you go get food for someone else and they're picky, then there's pressure.
You're under a lot of pressure with the SL.
Well, I don't know there's a lot of pressure, but I mean,
you are.
It's a first world problem. It's going to be okay.
You don't want to sleep on the couch. I get it.
It's going to be
or
okay.
out by the pool.
I've actually been thinking about that. I was gonna, I don't know, sleep with the Coyotes one night. Just sleep on a big floaty out there.
Come in limbless.
I don't think the animals are that vicious outside. Unless a coyote has jumped into the neighborhood, but we're pretty far down the hill. I don't know how people do it up the hill in the fancy parts of town. Willie, I will see you on Wednesday. Hopefully we have a positive result here with Team USA. We'll see what happens with USA and Belgium. Guys, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you, everybody.